you could qualify for Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. Rebates available for a limited time. For a free estimate, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Happy to be with you. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey today. So I guess we have the Manny Frey Show on this Thursday. Ryan Wiggins, how are you?
How are you?
Good. Brad, how's life?
Life is good. Just trying to get things figured out.
You got the Annie Frey Show in the temporary studio right now. So anyone that's watching live, you're like, that doesn't look like the regular studio. So you've moved in pretty quick. You have this banner that you put up. But this is a temporary dig. It sounds like they're doing some improvements in the main studio, so that's kind of cool. And before you know it, they're going to see you up close and personal again. And I'm happy to be with you here today. And I know that the president's in China. Are you surprised anything that's coming out of China right now? Are you surprised the cooperation, the friendliness between the two countries?
No. This is what you'd expect from this kind of summit. I just hope there's some sort of progress on Iran. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm sure that the presidents, as if Xi is a president, he is some sort of dictator, but whatever he is, are talking about. But I really hope that Iran has been the main point that they've been discussing.
Yeah, and part of these, you understand this always happens. The president goes in, he kind of wins them over a lot of times. Sometimes it gets a little bit heated depending on the type of visit. But when you have a good mood Trump winning people over, that's normally a pretty big win. Normally you can walk out of situations like that with a win. But a lot of people are pointing to this and saying, why even entertain China? Why be friendly with this country? Because ultimately, you know who you're dealing with here. They're not good operators. We know they're not good operators. So does it kind of concern you that they're buddying up? Or is it like, okay, maybe this could be a turning point?
No, you have to do this stuff because the advantage right now, like I said, if the focus is Iran, I'm sure there's other things too, but if the focus is Iran, China has a real strategic play that they need here too, and that is that if the strait isn't open, which right now it's kind of not. I've heard that some Chinese ships, oil tankers have gone through, which is progress. But if it's closed, you're really shifting the balance of the entire oil world to the West and to the Middle East where they can get it outside of the strait. A lot of Chinese oil comes through that strait. So my guess is that you have President Trump there saying, hey, let's work together to get this strait open. It's in your best interest if it's open because the entire oil economic world is going to shift if you don't help it get open.
What if they're trying to negotiate things like, well, wouldn't it be nice if you started selling some of our cars? Like they start hinting towards things we shouldn't really be doing here in the United States. Is there any room for negotiation here, or is it Trump going in and saying, all right, there's not a lot of room on these other things, but it doesn't mean we still can't work together on some others? Because there's the automakers, especially since I'm here in Michigan with Detroit. They're not happy with the idea that these cheap Chinese EVs could be popping in here. And the interesting thing is, on a consumer level, they're cheaper. They're well built. Like people really like them. The ones that have drove these vehicles seem to say they're great. Like the safety features and some of these other things. But the flip side is the reason they're so cheap is because of the forced labor and some of the subsidies coming from there. So it's not the most ethical reason for it. So part of it is okay, they may be pushing to try to open up the United States market more, much like Canada's kind of opened up to it. Mexico's kind of opened up to it. They want to try to get the trifecta. I don't know if Trump should be doing something like that right now. So that's why the buddying up doesn't necessarily feel like the best move right now.
See, I just don't know if they're actually being buddies. They always look like they are because it's in both of their strategic best interests to do so. But ultimately, you really can't make China do anything. I mean, this is where the Trump tariff comes in. This is why he's been doing this, is because of things like the EVs, because they're really shady on a lot of their trade practices and they steal a lot of our IPs. You know, they will make a handshake agreement with you on anything and then do whatever they want. So I think Trump knows that. I think that we all know that. And anything that gets done here is basically Trump either forcing it to happen or convincing China that it's in their best interest.
And another factor I saw with this in some of the headlines is that Donald Trump really needs a win right now. Like, people are not happy with the gas prices, and rightfully so. What are you paying for a gallon of gas now in St. Louis, by the way?
$5. Well, in Missouri side, it's about $4.40.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Illinois side, it's almost $5
for regular.
It's depending on where you are. The gas prices are through the roof. Like on my drive to work, some of them are at is it $4.65, and then some of them at $4.89. So there's a pretty big, gap in between that. I have not seen the $5 yet, but they kept telling me we're going to see the $5. So people are not happy about this. The cost of living still very expensive. Things aren't getting cheaper. So Donald Trump needs a win. Do you think that gives China some leverage they're going to take advantage of?
Yeah. I mean, if China has any leverage, they'll take advantage of it.
The thing is, and I mean, we were just talking about gas prices. As bad as it is here, it's worse in China. I mean, China's major oil suppliers are Russia and Iran, and both of those are under tremendous pressure right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember when the strikes first went off, there were videos coming out of China that were of gas lines. Gas is incredibly expensive. Energy is incredibly expensive in China. So China doesn't like this any more than we do. And they also are frustrated by the high energy prices because they can't do what they want to do. I mean, China is our competitor. Anything, if we say anything other than that, we're just fooling ourselves. But China is our competitor, and they are suffering. And what they're trying to do is be major players on the world stage as well. Whenever we cut off the fuel, or when we blockaded the strait, then Iran couldn't get fuel out. And so like the only way for things to get into or out of Iran is like by rail and by truck over land. And that is such a long journey. So I don't think that China's looking at this as like Iran's a big advantage for us. I think that they're hurting worse. And that actually gives the United States an advantage in these negotiations.
And I always thought this would be wrapped up by now, honestly. I didn't think it would be as long as it has been. So that kind of concerns me because if my estimations are off, it just makes me wonder how much longer can it go. And when you look at things after the fact in the rearview mirror, so we'll take tariffs for an example. When you look at the whole, tariff thing that went down a year ago and Donald Trump said it's just a temporary thing for a long-term fix. Now, ultimately, the courts messed all of that up. Don't get me wrong. But it did end pretty quickly and things corrected fairly quickly. In retrospect, you're like, the idea of it, I agree with. Now, the same thing when it comes to Iran. The idea, I agree with. I don't like the idea of them having nukes. I know they're going to lie. They're enriching past the percentage they said they are. They're going to continue to do that. You can't trust them. The people that you put in power are just as bad. You can't trust them either. So now you kind of put yourself in a corner. But they kept saying it's going to be a temporary thing for a long-term stability, long-term safety. I agree with that in principle, but I can't imagine us living with $5 a gallon forever. So that scares me. And it makes me wonder just how much longer can we go this way? Can we go a year this way? And what that would look like?
No, I don't think that we can go a year this way. Our economy would just grind to a halt. People would stop spending. People are already nervous about doing summer vacations right now because you just don't know. And the more you hear economists say, yeah, even if the strait opened up right now, it's still going to take a month or more for gas prices to come back down. So I think everybody's a little bit on pins and needles here.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about that over the course of the show. And I know that we have Taylor Riggs, and great when it comes to money. This could come up as part of the conversation. We have a YouTube live chat poll up right now. What is that?
Do you consider yourself more or less generous than the average American? So it requires a few things of you. You got to figure out whether what you think the average American gives and and what they do, and whether you think that you are above that line or below that line.
Is how much faith you have in the average American. That's really the question.
Kind of.
That's like the basis in all of this. I don't even know because I don't know what the average American is. Do I have to look that up, or am I guessing what it is?
You can just guess. Just take a guess as to what you think the average American does and decide whether you give more or less than that in your head.
In my head, I think Bernie Sanders, who gives like 0.5% or something on his taxes. It's like, or like 0.01%, whatever his charitable contributions were. And I think, okay, is that what the average American is? Bernie Sanders, who's going out there all the time talking about how rich people need to pay their share or whatever, and then gives practically nothing of his share. I wonder if that's the average or if Bernie's just that bad. So this is going to be an interesting YouTube live chat poll. And go leave some comments in that, too. That'll be fun. We have Hans von Spakovsky coming up after the break. Is that right?
That's
Sounds
correct.
fantastic. We love Hans. So looking forward to that. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
All month long, we're taking time to honor those who have served and reflect on the meaning of home. Because home isn't just where you live, it's where you feel comfortable and protected. At Renewal by Andersen, we believe your home should deliver that every single day. That's why every project is handled by one experienced, dedicated team. From consultation through installation, designed around your home and your schedule. And with our exclusive Fibrex material, stronger than vinyl and built for extreme temperatures, you get durability that lasts for years to come. Right now, during our Memorial Day savings event, save $500 on every window and $1,000 on every door. Plus, military families receive an additional $300 off their entire purchase. With flexible financing available, you can move forward with confidence. Call by May 31st to schedule your free window and door diagnosis. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. That's 1-877-WINDOWS or renewalbyandersen.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
You sticky big hoop.
And welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, 97.1 FM Talk. I'm your host, Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey. Joining us now is part of a conversation whenever we have Hans von Spakovsky on. I always learn something new. Advancing American Freedom, Senior Legal Fellow, former FEC Commissioner. Hans, thank you so much for joining us.
Ryan, thanks for having me.
I felt like this should have been happening a long time ago when it comes to redistricting. When you look at the Supreme Court and essentially their big decision, which is, I can't believe we have to say this, but when you take race as a factor, that is racist. So now you have a bunch of states that have this ability to redistrict where race is not a factor in playing into it. And it looks like Republicans are really setting the stage for some huge advancements.
Oh, I think that's true, particularly when you consider that the plan in Virginia, which was to strip away 4 Republican seats out of the 5 they hold in the state and turn them into Democratic seats, that effort failed when the Virginia State Supreme Court on Friday threw out that redistricting process because it had not followed the requirements in the state constitution. I think, actually helped put Republicans ahead of Democrats in this fight.
And part of the talking about the redistricting and potentially some of the seats that could be picked up in the House because of it, I thought for sure that when Donald Trump got back into office and we looked at the deportations, the self-deportations, people that may not have been too honest when it came to their voting, when they maybe perhaps shouldn't have voted, I thought that would have had maybe a bigger impact when it came to higher representation of maybe Republicans getting some of these seats back. But it seems like this is almost like a double whammy for Republicans in a good way. On one side, you have people that may have not been eligible to vote that could have been sneaking in some ways. I know we're paying much closer attention to that. And then on the other hand, the gerrymandering that the Democrats have put into some of these states are starting to go away. So this is like a double win.
Well, no, it is. And in particular, look, this administration has deported more illegal aliens in the past year and a half than I think has ever been done. The last time I looked at the numbers, the removals were up to close to 1 million. And several actually non-governmental organizations who study immigration say that actually the number of aliens here illegally who have self-deported, in other words, removed themselves before the government came around and did it, is probably almost twice that. So that is a very big change. And will it affect the election? It potentially could in places where the elections are close.
Are blue states really that blue then? When we go back and we have some midterm elections coming up here in a few months, are we going to really learn the makeup of each state? Is this going to be enough time for it to show up in November?
Well, that I don't know about because Democrats in blue states, look, they're expert at partisan gerrymandering. I mean, they are all complaining right now about what places like Texas, Florida, Tennessee have done, but they're actually the experts at this and have done it a long time ago. And the example I'd give you is, for example, Connecticut. Look, in the 2024 election, Trump got 42% of the vote. I mean, that's not that far away from half of the vote. But Connecticut, which has 5 congressional seats, has gerrymandered it so that all 5 seats are Democratic seats. Is that can Republicans overcome that in the November election? Probably not. Massachusetts is the same way. Trump got 36% of the vote, about a third of the state, but out of 9 congressional seats, all 9 of them are Democratic seats. So it's going to be awfully hard for Republicans there to win. But the way they are restructuring other states, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, Georgia now has called a special session. That actually, I think Republicans are actually going to come out ahead of the Democrats in this redistricting battle.
Yeah. Hans von Spakovsky joining us here on the Annie Frey Show. So, Hans, what do you think, if you had to predict the next trick of the Democratic bag will be? So if they can't gerrymander based on race, what do you think some of those big blue states like California, what do you think their next big argument's going to be, or some of these other areas that perhaps have relied on that over many years?
Well, there's still a couple, I mentioned the states where there are 0 Republican seats. I'm actually surprised that the blue states that still have just a small handful of Republican seats haven't done what California has done. An example of that is Illinois. Illinois got 17 congressional seats, of which only 3 are Republican seats, even though, again, Trump got 43% of the vote. surprised that Illinois hasn't done what it can to get rid of those 3 Republican seats. New Jersey's the same way. They've got 12 congressional seats. Only 3 are Republicans, but New Jersey hasn't acted to get rid of those 3 seats. I don't know if they now have enough time left to be able to do it, but that to me is about almost like the only other option they've got.
Have you seen those districts in Illinois, the way that they put the map together? You look at it and you say, how could anyone look at this and say they didn't gerrymander? I mean, that is so obvious of an example of what they were trying to fix. And it's so funny because you start to take away some of the different tricks that they've used. They, at least the Democratic Party in some of these states, they have to be in panic mode right now for what's happening in these states.
Well, I think they should be, because while I'm in a couple of states where there's still a handful of Republican seats, in most of the blue states, they basically maximized the number of Democratic seats. You know, in some places you can't entirely get rid of Republican seats just because of the way the population of the voters are geographically dispersed. So there are limitations on what they can do. You know, their big remedy are lawsuits. Every single one of these red states that's doing redistricting is now going to be fighting in court against lawsuits filed against them. You know, that happened with Texas. Texas won the lawsuits, and so their plan's going ahead. But every one of these other states, like I said, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, as soon as they redistrict, and some of them already have, they will get hit by lawsuits. And what the left will be hoping is, even if they eventually lose, the point of the lawsuits is to delay the implementation of these new districts long enough that they just can't be put in place before the November election. I mean, that's why they will file the lawsuits.
Hans, this is Brad with, I'm the producer, and I usually don't get to ask questions, but I have seen where legal experts are saying that the Alito ruling on Calais has actually given conservatives a weapon to use against racial gerrymandering. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but Illinois has a lawsuit now against their districts that says that the last time they redistrict, it was illegal gerrymandering based on race.
Yep, no, I know that. It was filed by the Public Interest Legal Foundation, of which I guess I should tell you, I'm actually the chairman of the board.
Oh.
Organization. Yes, because look, what the Supreme Court said in Louisiana versus Calais is that the only very rare instances where you're allowed to use race to redistrict is when you have proven a violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. That's the law that bans racial discrimination in voting. But what has upset Democrats and the left is that the Supreme Court has said, look, if you're going to prove racial discrimination has been going on in a state, you got to prove that it's going on now. You can't come in and say, and this is what happened in Louisiana, oh, well, there was racial discrimination going on in the state 60 years ago, and therefore today we need a remedy. The Supreme Court cut that out and said, no, it has to be based on current conditions. That's why the left is so upset, because in none of the states, like Illinois, where they used race to drop these districts, can they show any evidence of current racial discrimination, you know, in general, going on in the legislature of the state?
Wow. Hans, if people want to look you up, some of the work you're doing, where can they go?
They can go to Americans Advancing Freedom, or I'm on Twitter, X, at H. von Spakovsky.
I still say Twitter. It's going to be Twitter forever for me. It's going to be too hard to just switch over to X. I am a stubborn, so it's like when they change a venue in the name of the concert venue, I'm going to call it the old thing for the rest of time. It's just how I go. Hans von Spakovsky, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey, 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Ultima
You've probably
Morgan
heard
of
all
Morgan
those
and
ads
Morgan.
for life
Every time
insurance.
one of my
Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan and Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Mark Cox here. Bring your home back to life with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean right now, starting at just $139, and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
Today, the YouTube live chat poll is asking you to consider, are you more or less generous than the average American? Do you consider yourself to be more generous or less generous than the average American? Yes or no? That is the way that
is the problem we were talking about. There was a wording issue with it.
It's the yes or no?
Yeah, it's more or less.
It should be more or less.
So, weigh in on the text line.
So yes would be more.
Rip him on me for that. I fixed it on the stream, and then come vote in the poll and tell us why you voted the way you voted.
This text just came in the text line. It said the choices should be more generous or less generous. That is correct.
Thanks,
That's
texter.
What we just said. All right, let us know what you think, because this is all based on J.D. Vance's comments about Americans being very generous, but we want to know what you even consider to be the average American. to be generous or not, and whether you are above or below that line. Let us know. It's the YouTube live chat poll. It is 12:33. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
From High Ridge to Pontoon Beach, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, there's a story. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm just going to float this idea by you before we get to something more serious. Are you familiar with Chud the Builder?
Chud?
Does that sound familiar at all?
No.
The word chud sounds familiar.
It sounds like something somebody is making up to make fun of Bob the Builder or something like that. I'll show you my own character. His name's Chud.
I've heard that word being used derogatorily by the Utes.
The Utes?
The Utes.
What does that mean then?
What
would the
youths?
No,
I don't know.
But what does chud mean when they use the word chud?
I'm too afraid to ask. I've heard it used about 4 or 5 times, and at some point I'm like, all right, you're going to have to tell me. But I think it's a negative thing.
So here's the story. It says sheriff deputies investigating a shooting scene outside the Montgomery County Courthouse on Wednesday. A man that goes by the name Chud the Builder live streams himself saying racially derogatory statements to black people in public settings, was taken into custody after being involved in a shooting outside of the courthouse. So this is the point I'm going to make. If your nickname is Chud the Builder, I automatically think you're guilty. I'm going to side with the other person. I don't even need to see the video. That's all I need to know.
I wanted to like him until I heard what he was doing.
Wait, you wanted to root for him?
Well, because I like the name Chud the Builder. It's a terrible name, but it's kind of catchy. So this guy live streams himself just saying racist things to people?
Yeah, race baiting people. So he takes a camera and essentially goes out, says these bad things to try to get reactions, angry reactions, so he can, show other people online the angry reactions and get clicks and views for him.
Does he have a lot of followers?
Here's the thing.
You're laughing.
I asked Grok what chud is, and this is what Grok said. It's an internet slang term primarily used as a derogatory insult, obviously. Modern usage. General meaning, a fool, jerk, troll, loser, boorish, unattractive person, often implying someone is socially awkward, gross, unintelligent, or basement dwelling. And I think it applies to Mr. Builder.
So if you take a look at him, the mugshot's out there. He's well known for antagonizing people to see what kind of reaction you can get out of them, yelling racist slurs at them, things like that. Filming people, other people who are familiar with his antics say he's not a contributing member of society, which basement dweller would be the right term for that. When I see that he's involved in a confrontation and arrested, I immediately think, of course, and 2, I don't need to know anything else. You're just guilty. Forget the trial. A name like that and knowing what your MO is, that's all I need to know. That's it. Forget it. If I was on the jury, they would have dismissed me immediately because I would have stood up and said, there's ain't no way with a name like that I'm going to say this person's not guilty, no matter what is presented here.
Sorry, can you say again what he's being tried for?
So what he does is, he's got the camera and he live streams. So someone got into a fight with him for saying something, and then they started shooting at each other. It got to that point where there was guns involved.
Okay.
He's saying it was self-defense. A video was posted from inside of an office building, and they're saying ain't looking like self-defense for him. That looks like attempted murder. It looks like him provoking that and then getting into shots. Are you looking at a picture of him now?
Yeah. Brad just brought up a picture of him. There you go.
That's
on
all
the
you
camera
need to see,
if you
right?
know.
Does that look like Austin Matthews, the hockey player?
I wouldn't do that to him.
Wait, you're telling me that the temperament of a man who goes out and live streams himself saying racist things to people to get a reaction and tries to make people watch that is also the kind of guy who might pull a gun on somebody?
Yeah, after they get angry with him and then he shoots them in, quote, self-defense. Well, after he starts something with them.
Right,
so,
yeah, is it self-defense
not great.
when you started it? I don't know that either.
Well, he's going to need a good legal fund. And wouldn't that be great too if, like, let's say they stream his court appearance and that makes more money than he ever made race baiting people?
Twitch.
Well, you know what, though?
Judge
They'll
is
probably
like-
stream it too, though.
Judge is like, smash that like button. You have Chud the judge.
Ryan and Brad too. So yesterday was a friend of mine's birthday, and I randomly was texting him happy birthday, and I hate sending a birthday text that's just, hey buddy, happy birthday, or like have a great day or something like that. I like to include some sort of something personal,
A little idiom or
a little joke between us or whatever. And I couldn't even think of anything for this guy, but you reminded me of it with Chud, because like, what in the world, if you were calling somebody Chud, what would you do? But did you ever call, because I called this guy this yesterday, did you ever call your friends gonards?
Well, I know the term gonads from like Beavis and Butthead. I mean, that's, I think, an actual atomical name.
Yeah,
like, that's proper.
But we would always, before Beavis and Butthead here, we'd be like, he's a gonard. And I didn't know if that was just a us thing or what.
It sounds like vaguely familiar, but I don't know if that's because I've used the term nards and the term gonads.
Maybe it was
and it's just coming together. It might just be your thing.
I think you had just answered my question. It was just us.
So that's the story?
That's the entire story, Ryan.
He does this all the time, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, back to
Chud. Tell us more about Chud the Builder.
Speaking of nicknames, yeah. No, that's it. I think a lot of people will have interest in slamming on him now.
And this guy was from Texas, with who my friend I was texting, and he had no clue what I was. He's like, "What is that?
What are you talking about?"
And that's why I'm asking the question. And that's the entire point of my saying.
So I went over to Pauli Market, and I wanted to see what some of their predictions were. And based on what we were talking about with Hans von Spakovsky and some of the different decisions and how they could be redistricting, not really in time for the midterms, perhaps. And I was kind of shocked to see this number here. Which party will win the House in 2026? Now, Republicans have a lead in the House. I mean, slim in the Senate as well, but they say 79% chance the Democratic Party takes over the House after the midterms. Do you believe that? That's a big percentage that they believe the Democrats will take over. That's a lot of seats they'd have to flip.
Well, it's not a lot of seats anymore because of all the redistricting. There's probably only about, and I'm just pulling this from memory, after we get done with South Carolina and Tennessee and Alabama, assuming they all get their 4 seats through, you're talking about probably around 212 that would be a lock for Republicans then.
Mm-hmm.
They would only need 218 to hold the House. So that means they would probably need about 5 to 6 seats, depending on how you're handicapping the open ones, that Republicans would have to win. But they have to win 5 to 6 seats. And right now, the national climate in a year, in a midterm like this, where you have the presidency, is typically against the party in power. And so it's very possible among those 15 seats that Democrats could sweep all 15. And if they do, they still win the House. Now, it's, of course, less likely than it used to be because of all the redistricting, because the Republicans only have to take a handful. So they could, and it's more likely now than it was 6 months ago that they could keep at the House, but it's still not likely.
Right. Here's some of the other betting lines. Which party will win the Senate? Republicans, 54% have the advantage there. And you can even bet, it's such crazy world we live in with the things you can bet on. One of the lines is Republicans win trifecta with Senate supermajority in midterms. There's only a 4% chance, they say, of that. Here's another thing you can bet on. New Virginia congressional map used in the midterms. There's an 8% chance that happens. People are betting money on stuff like this.
Wow, I'm surprised that that's even still something you can bet on, because I just wouldn't think that that was going to happen. I guess if they get rid of their entire Supreme Court, they could try to still make it happen. But
there's some odds and stuff. But you can bet on anything on these things. I think Donald Trump used the term "the world's a casino" now, which it's 100% true. The world is a casino. We're just going as fast as we can to crank out as many degenerate gamblers in the world. It's just getting out of hand. It's been out of hand, but it's getting worse.
Yeah, you know, if this was around when I was younger, I think I would be more likely to gamble, because I'm not really a big casino guy. The older I get, the more I do get why people go to them because they are kind of fun. But if I was 20 years old and Polymarket existed and you could just bet on anything, you could bet whether some building next to you was going to make it for another couple of years, or like just the most random stuff. Like, oh, they're about to tear down this building. Are they going to do it by this date? I've seen that stuff on there. And I would actually be more inclined to bet on that kind of stuff than I would sports.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's goofy.
I'm looking at some of the different things you can bet on. They got all these different categories. They got a whole category of Epstein bets. It says Jeffrey Epstein foul play confirmed by December 31st, 2026. There's a 7% chance of that. Just the type of stuff you can bet on is mind-boggling to me. You can bet on the weather if you want to. Will the highest temperature in Seoul on May 15th be 26 degrees Celsius or higher? That's a 70% chance on that. You think people are waking up and they're betting on the weather in other countries? They are. And that's the problem.
I guess so. I mean, some of that seems kind of boring, but if it was stuff I could watch.
You think it's safer to bet on stuff like that than it is the stock market?
No.
No.
I think the stock market's still a little bit safer.
There's a reason that everybody's portfolio usually includes some stocks. It's because
someone else handling.
What's the old adage? The stock market always goes up. Yeah, there's dips and whatnot, but I mean, look at where we're at here compared to where we were a year ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Is there a degenerate gambler market? So can you go to a person and they gamble on your behalf, like some kind of money market or a mutual fund of gambling, something along those lines?
You select several gamblers and you put them together and they have to make bets on your behalf.
They make bets on your behalf.
Diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, diversify your gambling portfolio for your retirement fund or the kids' college fund. Put the money in there. It's a sure thing, I'm sure. All right, we have Wiggins America after the break.
Yeah,
Looking
Wiggins
forward to
America is going to be about what I call the loneliest Democrat in the world. John Fetterman is making some statements about what it means to be a Democrat to him right now. And we're going to walk through these and just, true or false, is that what the Democrat Party stands for right now, and is he a part of it?
Great. Looking forward to that. I'm Ryan Renker, filling in for Annie Frey, 97.1 FM Talk.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Audacy app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
All right, who is this fella, John Fetterman? He's in the Democrat Party right now, but there's rumors that he's talking about maybe running as an independent or as a Republican or switching parties. Don't know exactly. I don't think he'd switch to Republican outright. I think if he ever switched, he would probably be at least first to independent, although that did not go well for Kristen Sinema in Arizona, so I am not betting that happens anytime soon. I like when he does interviews like this, though, because he continues to talk about what the Democrat Party is today, what they should be, and the way that he is, and the way that he hopes the Democrat Party moves. So I'm going to read some statements here, and I want to know whether you think that these are the direction of the Democrat Party or whether it should be. So some kind of true or false stuff here, and it's just based on what he said. First, he says that he is very pro-capitalist, and he warned that the Democrat Party is becoming increasingly anti-American.
Facts.
So those are two separate things that he said there. First of all, do you think that the Democrat Party right now, in large, is anti-capitalist?
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of them are. It's hard to say exactly what percentage of them are. Maybe I'm just looking at the right news sources that give me an impression most of them are. But I would say, 35 to 45% are? That's a pretty big chunk.
When I think it gets high, that percentage gets higher the younger you get within the Democrat Party. It's just, I mean, the infatuation and the desire to play footsie with socialism and communism is just, it's disheartening.
Yeah, if New York City is any indication,
yeah,
really any big blue city at this point, there is no real desire to talk about or lift up capitalism. Even if they generally would abide by it, they don't push it.
And actually, I've seen videos where, man on the street videos where they talk to these young people. I'm like, well, what type of system would you set up? And what they describe is capitalism. And what they're actually railing against is like the caricature of what capitalism is and what actually turns out to be cronyism, which is awful. And nobody likes cronyism.
Right.
But socialists have said this is what capitalism is, and they've defined it, and what they've defined is actually cronyism. And so these young people get this wrong idea about what capitalism actually is.
Yeah, using capitalism to keep other people out of capitalism, that's not actually capitalism.
Right.
That's greed and evil.
It's cronyism.
It's cronyism. And we all call that stuff out. All right, next statement that he made there, I already mentioned it, though, that the Democrat Party is becoming increasingly anti-American.
Yeah.
I don't know what that percentage is. If I were to guess the percentage of Democrats that are true anti-American, it's probably close to the same percentage, 35 to 45%. And the reason I would put it there is because a lot of times when you talk to your neighbors and, they may have voted for Hillary, they may have voted for Kamala Harris, but they still put the American flag out in the front of their house. They're homeowners. They realize, I'm trying to live the American dream. They recognize and respect America as a country. They understand its greatness, but they disagree with you on a lot of fundamental things. I'm okay with that. That's okay. I can have those conversations. I would say 35 to 40% are in the camp of we need to respect other cultures into that we need to lose our own identity to those other cultures. So America is not an identity. America is not, something that will, I'm trying to find the right words for this, but they almost look at it as the melting pot is not America. We have to adopt what other cultures want us to adopt and lose our own identity in the making of that. And I feel like there's a large percentage that feel that way.
Yeah, if you are no rules in favor of no rules or Fetterman, I wasn't trying to say that. Unfettered immigration is what I was going to say.
And that's a big part of it.
Then you basically are trying to replace American culture. You're trying to bring enough people in that there is no American culture. It's just some other culture.
Yeah. Well, and then the other side of that is like you start looking at the Democrat Party's foreign policy as a whole. It's to shrink American influence around the world. I mean, when Obama got elected, he went on a world tour to apologize for the United States. There's an embarrassment that is prevalent underneath of what it means to be an American. Like you were talking about people flying flags. It was during the last election where they were embarrassed to fly flags. Some people were saying that flying the American flag was a sign of white supremacy and racism.
Yeah.
And
it goes back, I think, I think the way you can sum it up is essentially the First Amendment. And if they look at things and say, when it comes to the certain freedoms that are given to you right off the bat, when it comes to freedom of religion, well, it's too restricting to be a Christian, so you shouldn't have that much freedom. Or when it comes to freedom of speech, well, what you're saying is offensive, so you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should be punished for the things that you say by the level of the government. Assembling together, you shouldn't be allowed to protest outside an abortion clinic, you find that as soon as they start saying all of these freedoms are too much for me and you shouldn't be allowed to do it because it offends another culture, then forget that. That's when you start to lose who you are as an American. And that's what you see a lot of times with some of these Democrats.
The next thing I have highlighted in this Fetterman article here is that he says, quote, in 2016, it was much more about the minimum wage and some other very basic kinds of things. And now that's just turned into much more like standing with Cuba, standing with Venezuela, standing with the Iranian regime, and turned that into much more becoming more increasingly anti-American for me. So my views really haven't changed that much. Another loaded statement there with a couple different things. One, do you think Democrats, in his words, stand with other nations like Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran over America?
I think essentially you just have to say Israel and Palestine essentially is those are the two. You can look at that and say the Democratic Party immediately identifies with Palestine and looks at Israel as, one, the aggressor, and two, the genocidal maniacs. And you're right about some of these other things. They side with these certain parties thinking that, life was a utopia before Israel came around, or, life was great in some of these other areas in Iran. Look at the people and how happy they were, and, forget about the slaughter that they did to their own people. They side with these certain regimes, and it makes you scratch your head, and you're saying, why would you do that? Like, this doesn't make sense. But that's a lot of people in the party do.
It just shows that if you are that kind of person, whether you're Democrat or whatever, if you just stand against anything that a Republican or Trump is doing, and you have no real core values to what you're saying, you're going to end up siding with Venezuela and Iran just because they are against the United States right now or against Trump. And that's really sad. That means you really don't have any sort of base morality to you. You just sort of fly with whatever's happening. So he says there, my views really haven't changed that much, which I think is interesting. He said the shift of working class union members, this is John Fetterman, by the way, of Pennsylvania, the shift of working class union member Democrats to supporting Trump has empowered a more radical socialist wing of the Democrat Party. Agree or disagree? Last thing.
Sure. There's a pretty big wing of that. I would agree. It has. And they kind of have to tiptoe or play to them in order to get the votes they need. So, yeah, they play into it.
Brad, what do you say to that really quick? Has the shift of working class or union member Democrats to supporting Trump empowered the more socialist and radical wing of the Democrat
Well,
Party?
anytime there's a power vacuum, something's going to fill it, and that's exactly what has happened. Working class, the people the Democrats used to be for, they moved away from the Democrat Party, so they need some other base, and that's why they're playing footsie with the socialists and the radicals.
I think that's a fact. I think this is very insightful stuff from John Fetterman. I'm glad to hear him out there saying it.
There you go. It's the Annie Frey Show. Don't go anywhere. 97.1 FM Talk.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. The doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Paging all nurses and healthcare heroes, this night is for you. Join the Cardinals for Nurses Appreciation on Wednesday, May 20th and Thursday, May 21st at Busch Stadium. With a special theme ticket, you'll receive a healthcare-inspired Cardinal sweatshirt plus a coupon for a complimentary drink. It's our way of saying thank you for all that you do in our community. Don't miss the special theme at the ballpark. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The status of Iran. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. After reports the regime still has most of its missiles and launchers available for use, the CENTCOM commander tells lawmakers there are inaccurate open source numbers.
I think what also is not taken into consideration is more than just the numbers. It's the command and control that's been shattered.
Admiral Brad Cooper at a Senate hearing as a tug of war continues over the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump telling Fox's Sean Hannity China's president offered to help.
He did offer. He said, if I can be of any help at all, I would like to be of help. Because,
he did say that.
Yeah, he did say that. And look, anybody that buys that much oil has obviously got some kind of a relationship with him.
That interview airs 9 Eastern tonight as the president prepares to wrap up his meetings in Beijing, where Taiwan and trade have also come up. Key U.S. business leaders are also there attending the state banquet earlier today, U.S. time. An appeal to Congress from the mother of Stephanie Minter, the Virginia woman stabbed to death at a bus stop in February. The suspect is in the U.S. illegally and had multiple prior arrests.
Please do not let her story be ignored. Do not let another family stand where I am standing. Make changes, take responsibility, protect your community.
The Fairfax County Commonwealth Attorney Steve Descano offering condolences to her during the House hearing, but pushing back when Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan pointed out his website pledge to consider immigration consequences in criminal cases was recently changed.
My policies do not say that we do not prosecute people.
Well, if you're proud of your policies, why'd you change your website?
Because that's not my policy. As I told you, sir, that is a campaign statement that I made before I was Commonwealth
It had been up for 6 years. A week after we send you a letter saying we want you to come testify, shazam, you change it.
The Justice Department is investigating Toscano's office. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a top 10 afternoon, sunshine and springtime, 76. That's going to continue for evening plans. Just delightful. Some showers developing towards morning, so the evening's fine. 59. Friday, mixed clouds and sunshine, but let's expect some showers and thunder showers around, mainly in the morning Friday. Windy, warm, and more humid in the afternoon. 86 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get your AC ready for summer while helping shelter pets. Book your AC clean and check in April, and Air Comfort Service will donate a bag of pet food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary. aircomfortservice.com/petfood.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Rain.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I hate these polymarket bets. Look at this one. Will Trump and Xi handshake last 10 to 15 seconds during the last day of their meeting in 2026? People are betting on that. What?
Man, 10 to 15 seconds. So it has to be within that range. So if it goes over that or under that, you're
Right.
out of luck.
And it's 99% yes. That's where it's at. It probably happened. Maybe that 1% is if there's some sort of dispute. Maybe someone with a stopwatch there. Is that a long time to shake someone's hand? 15 seconds? That seems a little bit
It's excessive.
overboard.
Yeah, that's a long handshake.
But if you're a world leader, once you start, you're not going to be the one to quit.
No, especially not if it's like a power struggle kind of thing.
Right. And Trump does that thing where he pulls you in. You ever see him?
Yeah, and that is very much like a dominance thing. I saw this whenever I was substituting for a psych class, and it was talking about the power dynamics and body language amongst world leaders. And one of the things they went to was it the Camp David Accords, where Yasser Arafat, and I don't remember who the Israeli leader was at the time, and Bill Clinton had them all out to Camp David to do this thing. And these two Middle Eastern men almost got into a shoving match to see who would be last to go in the door, because whenever you're last to go into the door, it suggests, in their culture, it suggests that you are the one that's in control because you're making sure that everybody else is safe and in, and then you can go in.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
that
just
happens in hockey.
They were just like, no, you, and then like they would spin around and like, no, you, and then it was just a whole thing. And Bill Clinton stand on the inside like, guys, we got to go do this meeting.
Right. And that'll happen in the NHL, where the home team, there's always someone that wants to be the last off the ice. And if someone challenges them on the other team, they'll stand out and wait for the other one to go in.
Oh, yeah.
That happens. And it's kind of foolish and silly. And I've seen it basically paper, rock, scissors decide who's going to go in first. And that seems to work well, too. I wanted to play a couple of clips here if we could.
Yeah. And
on the trip to China, I think this is clip number 5 in forming a board of trade. Can we play that one?
The vice premier and I, who have a very good working relationship, I think we've seen each other. This was either our 8th or 9th meeting. Worked on the agenda for today's meeting in terms of the economics, the deliverables. And so we talked about purchases. We talked about some issues that the Chinese side had. And we're going to talk about forming a board of trade for the bilateral trade between the U.S. and China. And we're going to talk about a board of investment that will be responsible for investment in non-sensitive areas.
That was Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. I always have to pause for a minute. Am I saying his last name right? And to me, he's an all-star. Like he came out of nowhere with me. I didn't know much about him. And then every time he speaks, I feel like he hits it out of the park. I don't know if it gets stronger when it comes to that position than him. And I'll tell you, Rubio, too, did you see he's basically the front runner now for the Republican Party over J.D. Vance?
I didn't see that he had taken that over, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's not by a lot, but yeah, a few points.
Yeah. If I were to go, okay, let's go to the Poly Market. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah. Do you think Vance is going to run? Because if he runs, Marco Rubio and him both have already said they're not going to run against each other.
Yeah.
Right. So you think it's going to be one of those things where they're both standing at the doorway to see who goes
Yes,
in last?
I kind of do.
No, you.
And Bill Clinton standing there going, come on, Marco and JD, what are you guys going to do?
Well, you know what's
Yeah.
interesting to me is Rubio being in front actually a good thing for Rubio, because I think it was at this time before the 2016 election. Do you remember who was the Republican shoo-in lock nominee?
Was it
Wait,
Jeb?
in 2016?
Yeah. Well, it would have been like 2014 or whatever, but everybody thought this person was the one that was going to be the nominee.
Oh, let
And
me
it wasn't
think.
Jeb?
Nope.
It wasn't Ted Cruz either, though.
It wasn't.
was-
No, it was Scott Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Scott Walker. Forgot about him. Like everyone else did.
Yeah, I guess we all. Well, you know what? We've interviewed him on the show before, but after he was not governor anymore. He's just
Right.
part of a nonprofit or something
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of this trip, too, you find President Trump at the China State Dinner. This is clip number 4.
Well, thank you very much. This is a great honor. It was a fantastic day.
Great soundbite.
And in particular, I want to thank President Xi, my friend, for this magnificent welcome. And it really was a magnificent welcome like none other. And for so graciously hosting us on this very historic state visit. We had extremely positive and productive conversations and meetings today with the Chinese delegation earlier. And this evening is another cherished opportunity to discuss among friends some of the things that we discussed today, all good for the United States and for China. And it was a great honor to be with you. Please.
Okay. Well, they're still talking about what maybe some of the questions, like here's going back to the polling market. They're talking about what things will they discuss at the event. Looks like the biggest one is Iran, then AI, artificial intelligence. This is according to bettors. Tariff, and then it looks like the Straits, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Those are some of the big ones. Rare earth minerals. So these are all big topics. I don't see too many on the car side, which I thought going into this, that would be one of the topics they brought up.
Oh, EVs.
EVs, yeah. I've never drove, and rightfully so. I mean, you don't see them here in the United States, but people say they're cheap and good EVs. Canada seems to like them, I guess.
I'm not opposed to driving EV.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like a Chinese-made EV.
Chinese-made one, yeah.
They have
Would you
several.
trust a Chinese-made one?
I'm not really for that.
No, I
No,
wouldn't.
neither. I wouldn't want to buy one.
And they're putting backdoor stuff in like transformers for power stations. Who knows what they're putting in those cars?
You mean the robots in disguise?
No, I mean like spyware, malware, that sort of thing. If Chinese automakers gained a huge share of the market in the United States, that would be a huge vulnerability to the American people, because there's no doubt in my mind that they would put in a back door to these things where they could just go in the back door and shut them all off. And then there's no cars for like 40% of the people or whatever the large market share is, which would be a disaster for the U.S. economy and people.
Let me bring this case up to you, because this is something that is going on and a lot of people are talking about it. And when sometimes you hear these cases and you think, who in their right mind has sympathy for this person because they put on the waterworks? So this is from the New York Post. Trans killer reveals in chilling video how gender surgery pushed her to execute parents. Have you seen that?
No.
I didn't see the video. I saw the article.
Right. Okay. So chilling new interrogation video, shows the moment the trans killer calmly confessed to executing her parents, blaming it on her mom trying to thwart her gender transition surgery. So when I say her, that's the way the article has written it. This is a male saying that he's a female. Is that the instance?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. So I almost have to preface that because I'm just reading what the New York Post put down, but we know what's going on. So the murderer, who is serving 2 life sentences, told investigators in the newly released clip that the mental health was declining for years, saying, "This is why I needed surgery." Surgery was declined. They killed their parents. So people are sympathizing and saying, if you would have just listened to this kid, then everything would have been fine. We feel bad for this kid, was put in that position to not have gender reassignment surgery. Isn't that something?
What about all the shooters recently who had gone full transition, who also killed people? Or what do they say about those people? I mean, you can't apply the same logic.
Like Well, let's take the gender transition out of it and let's apply it to anything. Well, if you would have just listened to this person when they said give you all of the money out of the bank, then they wouldn't have shot you.
Also a good point.
Yep, declining for years, the surgery or whatever. I look at that, and the internet is sympathizing with the killer because they're saying that that is a logical defense that should have superseded the murders.
Try it with me when I'm on the jury.
The internet. Well, no, the jury did not agree.
Obviously. It's a logical defense. No, it isn't.
Well, no, it is not. So I'm sorry. This ain't going to fly. But the internet, if the internet was a jury, that's what I want to say the majority, probably not. But when you see those type of comments start to flood in and people agree, you wonder to yourself, who are these people, right? Is this like the 35 to 45% that I speculate is the Democrat Party that's just gone full blown?
It's got to be
extreme.
Yeah, it's got to be. And I go back to my Fetterman article, him talking about how Democrats have become so fixated on these sort of social contagion issues that, and it's funny because anytime we talk about it, like right now, we're talking about it on the radio. We're conservatives. They'll go, well, you guys are obsessed with this topic. Well, this is, it just keeps coming up. I mean, what are you supposed to not talk about it? And then when we do, it's like, oh, well, you should get over it. Well, it's still there. And this is the kind of stuff, exactly like you said, Wrecker, that it's that 30 to 40% of the party, because it's not the entire Democrat Party. Mm-hmm. It is the most extreme voices, and really the part that's steering the party that comes out and says this kind of stuff. Well, if you had just allowed this guy to transition to become a girl and had the surgery, well, then he wouldn't have had to commit murder. I mean, that's a ridiculous argument.
Do you think it's 30 to 40%? What do you think of that estimation? That's just kind of my guess.
I think
that's
it's
kind of
30
on the extreme.
to 40% of the country is that, not of the party. It's
so the party would be even higher.
The percent of the party that's like that is probably 60 to 65%.
Wow.
And the reason that I cite that is because of the same poll that Wrecker, I don't know if you've heard me cite this poll. I do it many, many times ever since 2024, right after the Joe Biden Donald Trump debate that was the debate that cost him a possible second term, as in Joe Biden. It cost him the nomination. It was a historic moment in political history. It was so bad. People all watched that, and I mean commentators watched that and walked away going, well, he's done. I mean, we watched it happen in real time. We were at Dave & Buster's. We had a big party and did it.
It was a big party, and whenever he started, as the debate went on, this rowdy crowd just got quieter and quieter and quieter.
And this is of people watching Trump win. You'd think that this is of our party and the literal party we were having at Dave & Buster's. You'd think this would be a night where people were like, oh, my gosh, he's winning so big. It wasn't like that. Our crowd was sad.
Yeah.
They were watching this and going, this is terrible. Yes, Trump's winning. That's great. But this is really unfortunate to watch. The reason I bring all of that up is simply because after that debate, they did a poll of the nation, and roughly 30 to 35% of the country said Joe Biden won that debate.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's the radical wing of the party that has no objectivity. They do not care about what's true or false. They're just going to tell you what's in their mind.
I was on air that night doing news. We were airing the debates. We had a political expert from the University of Michigan on to give us some commentary after, just kind of how do you think it went? And I remember bringing this up. I said, I'm looking at the lower thirds on CNN right now. They're saying Biden's done. They're in panic mode. The party leaders are like looking at this and they are panicking. And he said, oh, no, it wasn't that bad, actually. I mean, once you get past the first couple of minutes and, the first half, actually, he rebounded fine. And, I would say that he might have won that debate. The expert from the University of Michigan said that. And I said, were you watching the same debate that I was watching? All right. I know we have to go to break, but I got one more betting nod for you. Okay. It's so where I'm at in Detroit Eastern time, it's 2:18 Central Time, 1:18. Okay. What are the odds Joe Biden's sleeping right now?
How do you prove that?
Well, I'm just saying, what are the odds? What do you think he is napping or not awake right now?
Ooh, I would say this is prime Biden time.
Yeah, this is This is nap time.
So 70%, would you say the chance of him sleeping, or is it higher than 70%?
I'm going to go 65.
Okay.
I'll take the under.
You'll take the under?
Yeah, I'll take the under.
I'd take the over on that. 70% I think is low. Let me get on Polymarket right now. Maybe we can set the odds for that. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Warm weather means more storms, and you never know when the high winds or the hail might damage your roof. Mark Cox here from my friends at Corel Roofing Company. If you haven't had your roof inspected in the last 5 years, you need to call Curtis Corel and get that inspection to check for leaks and for damage. We've already had small hailstorms this spring, and we're not quite a year out from the big hailstorm last May. Your window may be closing to file an insurance claim connected to that. Now, here's what Curtis tells me. They are getting roofs approved for insurance claims from that 2024 storm with no problem. They're so good at what they do. The insurance companies respect and respond to them. Consider this part of your spring maintenance for your home and call Curtis today and get him out there. He did my new roof and it looks fantastic. You're going to love working with him. They specialize in all the luxury roof shingle lines. Call 314-222-9529 or go online today to CorelRoofingCo.com. It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
If you change your mind, take a chance. I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go, when you're feeling.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in. And I was looking at the Dow Jones right now. Is at about 50,100, right around there. It's a little under, but it's been fluctuating. The largest closing milestone for the Dow Jones was 50,188. So potentially by the end of the day, if things bounce the right way, we could see a record close of the Dow Jones. Do you want to guess what the all-time low is for the Dow Jones? The lowest it's ever closed.
Oh, the lowest it's ever closed? 1.
Yeah. Trivia.
Probably like the first day.
Ooh, 1.
No. It closed, this would have been on July 8th, 1932.
Okay.
It closed at $41.22, or $41.22. I guess dollars wouldn't be the right terminology for that. Yeah, 41.22.
So you could have bought the whole stock market.
All of it.
No,
well, just the Dow.
I'll take all the Dow, please.
Got that in my wallet right now.
Wait, that man's a time traveler.
He paid cash for it.
Like, I can't even fill my gas tank with that now. Corner the market back then with that. So it's looking pretty good. I mean, the way the Dow has been fluctuating, there's a chance it closes at an all-time high today. I just wanted to put that on people's radars. Got a couple of other clips I want to play here. This is kind of a long one, but the Dr. Oz moment in the Sun yesterday, just talking about the extent of the fraud that they are finding in places like California. It is unbelievable. Can we play clip number 6?
As Andrew pointed out, as little as a Medicare beneficiary number, which is basically a credit card to defraud this system. Unfortunately, that results in about $100 billion of estimated theft just from Medicare and Medicaid. That, just to put it in the context of affordability, which is a very important subtext of this discussion, we would be able to double the life expectancy of the Medicare Trust Fund if we could deal with the fraud issues just in Medicare. So anyone who's out there working their tail off, hoping Medicare will be there with them and for them, and we know many young Americans don't think that's going to be the case. It will be the case. If we take the fraud out, it'll be there for you and your children as well. And stopping this as a means of extending the Medicare Trust Fund is a noble purpose, but as has been pointed out by the Vice President and Mr. Ferguson, it is about the human costs. Because if these fraudsters are willing to take your money, they will definitely steal your life and take your health along the way. So let's transition to the 5 major actions. I'm going to go through them in order. I'll share them with Kim, who her nickname is Killer Kim. Mr. Vice President, you'll learn why in a second. She is unstoppable, and you want federal employees like Kim out there like bulldogs going after this fraud. It's right there for us to find. And if we have partnership with the states, it'll help a lot. First,
we need a better nickname for her if she's going to work in healthcare.
She's a Buckeye. She's a Buckeye, so I gave her a choice. Is that a typical name in Ohio?
I don't. Not that
Okay. California Medicaid deferral that the Vice President mentioned, it's $1.34 billion.
That's a lot. Over $1 billion. Well over $1 billion by about 300 million. That's a big number that they found. So far, what they have found. And it wasn't even in that much time they were able to find that. Did they say half of these facilities they're determining that were fraudulent? It's like 50% of these facilities that were claiming money from Medicare, Medicaid were fraudulent?
I didn't hear the percentage. I was trying to listen to the numbers there because did he say 1.3 billion or did he say higher than that?
That's the deferrals in California.
Okay, because the initial number I wrote down that he said was 100 billion.
Yeah.
In theft of Medicaid and Medicare total.
Yeah.
100 billion.
$100 billion.
Yes.
That's a lot of money. And so if they're going after that state by state, gosh, doesn't it make you amazed that we're in a place in America where you'd have to force a state to participate in working with the federal government to stop fraud?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean to hear the people crying out. So one of the things that they've done is they've just halted handing out these licenses that you need to do these home health care things. They're like, we're not sure who's real and who's not, so what we're doing is we're pausing it all. And people are losing their minds because they're like, well, people are going to lose services. And it's like, well, we've got to figure this out because $100 billion is just being stolen, fleeced, lifted from the American people, straight out of our pockets into fraudsters' pockets. We had Luke Rosiak on earlier in the week, and you can go back and listen to that on the podcast. But one of the things he said was he confronted a couple of these people that were doing the fraud. And like one of the responses that he got was, you can say whatever you want. I'm just going to call you racist. And that was what this
from one of the fraudsters.
Yeah, that's one of the fraudsters said, I don't care what you say. I'm just going to call you racist for calling me out on it.
Wow.
That's where we're at in the mindset of our country.
I think what the Trump administration is doing when it comes to stopping payments on the federal side and saying, hey, states, you're going to have to pay for your own fraud if you don't weed this out, should scare a lot of states because they're going to go bankrupt if they had to pay for the fraud. And the rest of the country who is trying to be trying to root out the fraud, they don't want to have to put the check out for California that lets it run rampant. So they're in some serious trouble if California doesn't take this seriously. And I know Dr. Oz can go out there and they can do the investigations, but if they don't enforce this and they just allow it to revert back to the way it was, it's just going to go that way because that's how California operates.
Ultimately, what it's showing is something that is, I'm going to say something that sounds so populist. And hopefully, if you're in your car right now, you're going to be like, yeah, I agree. Because I can't imagine anybody disagreeing with this. But if there is this much fraud, it's not because there's just a bunch of thieves out there. It's that the thieves are the politicians. They're encouraging it, and now that they've been found out, they are shying away from it. They don't want anything to do with it. We saw this in Minnesota. We just talked to Dustin Grage about this in Minnesota, how there are Democrats who are not involved with that fraud, but they are silent because the system has told them, the people above them who are involved in it are telling them, shut up, don't do anything.
All right. Taylor Riggs, co-host of The Big Money Show on Fox Business, joins us after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Mark Cox here. Bring your home back to life with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean right now, starting at just $139, and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
Taylor Riggs, co-host of The Big Money Show on Fox Business, coming up next on the Annie Frey Show. It is 1:31. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Was that word semi-quincentennial? Is that the right word?
I think so.
That's pretty good. All right. Joining us now is co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business, Taylor Riggs. Hello. Hi, Taylor. Are you there?
Hi.
Taylor, I was going to ask you to spell semi-quincentennial if you could, because that's always the best way to start an interview. The impossible task. That one seems a little bit tough. Well, thank you for joining us. And can I tell you, I'm kind of watching the Dow market right now continue to rise. There's a chance it closes at an all-time high today. It's getting pretty close. What do you think's driving the markets today? Because we know Donald Trump's in China, and there's been some big announcements.
You know, it is unbelievable, the ability of this equity market to look through inflation, to be honest, high PPI, hot CPI, and just look at AI and just wants to power higher. So, yes, you know, there were some big CEOs, about $15 trillion worth of CEOs out in China. And there are some deals that are being announced. There's maybe some talks about NVIDIA extending the H200 deals over there in China. Boeing might place an order for, we're hearing about 200 planes. So that's all good, but I think this is just a broader market that is powering through and just looking forward to AI and AI CapEx spend that for now is just seeing huge investments in the economy, though I will note that, of course, people don't feel great about that just because of high gas prices. So I just want to be mindful of those feelings as well.
Does the road to AI have to go through China, though? So if we're going to talk about progress in the way that the Trump administration wants to advance it, data centers and looking at the future, China's got to be a piece of that puzzle, right? There's no way to get around it without them. Is that right?
Yeah. I think they're a piece of the puzzle, and there's two things. One, they have all the critical rare earth minerals, but we have all the chip makers. So I keep thinking, look, China's a communist country. They are our enemy. They don't want us to succeed. They do not want us to be a world power. That being said, I feel like there's a lot of symbiotic relationship that we can have. We can get their critical rare earth minerals. They can have some of our chips, and I feel like that's sort of a win-win situation for everyone. There's a caveat to that, though, because we don't want to send them our best and brightest chips, NVIDIA, those like big Blackwell or the Vera Rubin chips. But there are deals to sell them the H200 chips. That's like the previous generation chips. They're 6 months old, and they have, a third of the computing capacity that we have now. Most of the people I speak to say that can also be a win-win because, yes, China will steal our technology. They will get their hands on those chips, reverse engineer, and then try to cut us out of the market. But if they're going to get our chips anyways, which they're doing, they're illegally taking them through, I would probably bet Dubai or Singapore. And so why not let our American companies get that revenue and win? Because China's going to get their hands on them in the black market anyways. NVIDIA is missing out on $12 billion in revenue from China because they're not able to sell in that market. So that's a controversial statement. A lot of people would say, why would you give your enemy a gun that's just the previous generation gun? But I'm thinking, I'm betting on capitalism and American ingenuity that we will always be a step ahead of China because we are brighter, we're smarter, and capitalism will always outpace and outwin communism. And that is also sort of a way that there can be a win-win where our American companies can benefit from getting revenue from China. China gets their hands on chips, but they're not the latest, greatest, and brightest.
Wow. I find that we've done that for, military sake. It's so funny. I've taken tours of the Abram tank plant in Lima, Ohio, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to see American tanks. I saw the testing grounds and the big concrete pyramids where they test these things out in the trenches, and I thought, this is the coolest thing ever. And then you get to the end of the tour where it shows you the completed tanks, and there's a bunch of Iraqi flags on them. I said, wait a minute, what's that all about? And then I was like, okay, that's how I learned the amount of things we make for other countries. And it was explained to me, they just get old technology. They don't get the good stuff. They just get the old stuff. So China, I think, is a little bit different because don't they have access to the new stuff from the intellectual property they've stolen from us? So could they take the old stuff and make it the new stuff with the things that they know about us?
Yes, they could. And there has been a lot of, we know that they reverse engineer. And I think Tesla's a great example. They said, Tesla, come in. We have this big Shanghai factory for you. He went in and they stole his autonomous robo-taxi. And now they have BYDs on the market for a fifth of what our cars cost because they do illegal dumping. They're heavily subsidized and they took his technology. I guess the difference is, we are betting that, with AI, we're going to always be a step ahead. Now, we have heard rumors that China's probably only about 6 months behind us in terms of their AI capabilities. But what I will also tell you is 6 months is a lifetime because in AI, things change every day. So if they're going to get their hands on the chips anyways, why not have them build their stay? So if not us, it's going to be Huawei. So they're going to build AI on Huawei chips, and then they're going to export that to Europe and the Middle East. My preference is let's have our American companies benefit, not sell them the chips on the black market, sell them the old stuff, have them learn to build their AI stack on an American tech stack so that then when they try to export that to the Middle East and Europe, at least it's built on an American AI and not Huawei, because Huawei is blacklisted here in the U.S. for those reasons. And so I guess that's sort of the counter argument, though. Honestly, I hear it both ways, and I think that this is the debate because people change their mind every day, and I frankly change my mind every day as well on how I feel about this issue because AI is so powerful.
Right. So we're watching this summit. We're watching the meetings go on in China and getting on the same page on a couple of different topics with President Trump. So would you say, economically speaking, is this all for show? Is it just to, take the photos, make it look like, okay, we can work together, it's a win-win for both sides? Or do you think we're actually becoming closer partners after a meeting like this? Do you think that there could be a long-term ramification where we can look at China as more of a partner as opposed to an adversary?
I don't think so. I don't. Here's the problem. I sit next to Larry Kudlow, who's awesome, and his show comes up a couple hours after our show. And he negotiated a deal during Trump 1.0 with China. They renege on all of their promises. So they come out after this meeting, they say, oh, well, we have commitments. Oh, yes, we're going to do this. Oh, yes, we're going to buy soybeans. They still aren't buying soybeans from 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So until they show up and follow through with their words, I don't think that they're going to be a reliable negotiating partner. They're also in bed with Iran and Russia. Yeah. So until they stop funding Iran, buying Iran's oil for a 30% discount to keep Iran afloat, then there's no way that we can have a good relationship with them. The problem is there is an economic relationship because we exported our middle class to them when we allowed them to join the WTO 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, whatever it was. And so our entire supply chain, for the most part, is there. Yes, we've tried to decouple, go to Vietnam, Cambodia, onshore, reshore. But for the most part, we're still heavily dependent on their manufacturing. But the good news is they're heavily dependent on us as a consumer. Their economy is not great. They don't report GDP numbers when they don't like them. And we heard that maybe they're growing at 5%, and they lie about their numbers. So they probably didn't grow at all last year. And their manufacturing and their real estate sector is hurting. So I don't think that they're coming away thinking this was a big win for them. They're suffering because 90% of their oil comes from Iran. And so I think it's more complicated than everything's going to be great from now on.
Yeah, the whole soybean thing. I remember talking to farmers about this a long time ago and how they manipulate the markets. And they explained it to me. They said, okay, China would agree to buy at a certain price. And then they would get ready to, supply them. And they'd say, no, we're going to cancel the order. And there'd be a big influx of soybeans. They would crash the price. And then they would rebuy it at a lower price. And they're saying, you can't trust China for anything. That's the story of everyone. I mean, every single sector. But here we are shaking hands and smiling and everything's great. It just feels so strange because you look at the stock market growing. Investors seem to be happy. Donald Trump seems to be smiling. The big tech billionaires are out there. They seem to be happy. And you're like, I don't understand why everyone's so happy. This is just, everything seems to be balancing on a high wire act that we're watching and just waiting for them to fall.
So I hear you. And, when you talk about, I guess the only good news that I can tell people at home who are listening to this, who are wondering how does all of this impact me, is Trump showed up with $15 trillion in market cap behind him with those tech CEOs. That's half the size of our economy. And the only good thing is I read a statistic, about 80% of NVIDIA employees are now millionaires because of the wealth that company has created. So, yes, it doesn't help the soybean farmer. But when you think about the wealth that we have generated in this country because we're on, innovating and developing countries, that's an incredible statistic of that employees at NVIDIA fact is true. China, when you mint a billionaire over there, you disappear. We don't know where you go. They take you and you don't come back. So I guess, we're going to have to play with them a little bit, because until we get really serious about reshoring our manufacturing, and I know Trump is right, but we've had some big setbacks with the overturning of tariffs. And so we're going to have to play with them. But I will say, I just believe in America. I believe in capitalism, and I believe in entrepreneurship, and I believe that AI will create a lot of jobs and make people less reliant on China, because they'll be able to create their own business plans on their own AI company plan that they can write out. So I hear you. I don't think everything is honky-dory, but I still do think that we're coming out. We're still the best house on the block. And I just, right now we're looking at 3.7% GDP. That's the Atlanta Fed survey for second quarter. That number is very volatile. It absolutely could be revised lower. But I think that we're going into this. What we've done with Iran has been very tough from a financial perspective. I know for us here. But if we can see this thing through and not have Iran have a nuclear weapon, and we're changing the world order, if I told you 10 years ago the Middle East would come to our defense against Iran, you would have told me I was crazy, right? China has their whole Belt and Road Initiative going through Africa on their way to the Middle East, because that's what they wanted next. We actually have Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE shooting down drones and helping us. So if we're redoing the world order, if China's going to buy oil from us because we've closed the strait, long term, I'm hoping that we can see some benefits from this.
All right. Co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business, Taylor Riggs, thank you so much for joining us here in St. Louis.
My pleasure.
That's a lot of that. She breaks it down so good. She is fantastic. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, cards, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, is fueling St. Louis. All gas, no brakes. They're giving away $77 gas cards to St. Louis drivers. Register to win until May 17th at KaufmanTownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, putting money back in your tank.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm going to mention that I saw Donald Trump in a movie today that I forgot he was in, and we're not talking about Home Alone 2. We're showing my daughter, who's 5, The Little Rascals from 1994, and Donald Trump makes a cameo in that one.
You know what? He's actually in that one quite a bit more than Home Alone.
Yeah, he's at the end, and he's got the rich kid. He's like, you're the best son money can buy. And, the kid's racing, and he's got the high-tech little street racer when it comes to the soapbox derby. And there he is, sitting on the stands with everyone else, rooting on his rich kid. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Donald Trump's in this. I completely forgot. There's all kinds of cameos in that movie, by the way, too.
Yeah, he's actually pretty funny in that movie. I thought he was much more entertaining in Little Rascals than he was in Home Alone 2 or any of the other ones. He's been in a couple others, too, but I think that was his best one.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple of things to bring up here. And this would be a good time for people to bring up the live feed if you go to YouTube. And there is a poll question up there. We should maybe read that, too. While you're there, you should go vote. But what's the poll question for today?
Do you consider yourself more or less generous than the average American?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
more
yes or no,
less.
which means you're voting yes, you're more, or no, you're less.
Yep.
That's the way Brad worded it.
Hey,
So
I fixed it. The poll on the stream says more or less.
Yep. So I got the call, and Annie, I'm guessing, wasn't feeling well today because it was a last minute, hey, we need... If you can fill in today, that would be great. And I said,
Sick
absolutely.
kid. Yeah.
So, sick kid. Oh, I hate hearing that. So I didn't bring my webcam with me into the studio, so I had to send you a photo. And this was the latest staff photo they took at our building here maybe 2 months ago. No one likes their staff photo. So I wanted to get your honest opinion. There's a picture of me instead of a live video feed. This is my latest photo for the radio station. This is what they're going to use in everything. Website, promotional materials, press releases, whatever it is. This is the photo they use. What do you think of my staff photo? Is it a good photo or is it a bad photo?
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is that a professional photographer?
Yes, it is.
A professional...
That's not well done.
Absolutely professional.
Okay.
They had everything.
Okay.
They had the lights. They had the big lenses. They had all the equipment around them. They had the backdrop, everything set up.
Okay, it's a nice photo of you, but
you have permission to speak freely.
Thank you. The photographer, I guess, forgot to make sure you could see your eyes because your glasses are almost all glare where the eyeballs should be, and that is like 101 for a professional.
And I've got a confession to make too. To put this up, I cropped this image and zoomed in.
Yeah.
The original image, you can see him sitting in the chair and this gigantic...
It's a wide shot, right?
It's a super wide shot. I'm trying to find the original.
If you could, bring that up. So the other part of this is it looks like the type of photo they would put on your ID to get into the building, like your identification, but nothing you would use in a promotional way.
No, not at all.
I see comments from producer Ethan. They did you dirty, Wrecker.
They did you dirty, Wrecker. And that's true. You know what you can do, though, now is that you can take a photo like this, because it is a good picture of you. Not that the photographer did a good job, but it's just a good picture of you just chilling. But you can take that photo and tell AI to clean up your eyes and to do this or that to you. Whatever you don't like about it, you can fix it now pretty easy.
We're going to leave AI out of this. I'd rather it be ugly than AI manipulated, honestly. I do have fun with AI, but I just don't. I don't generate photos of myself through it, put it that way, or my kids or anyone else. Too leery with what they would do with that. So the picture itself, I look at it, and I already warned my bosses. I said, if something were to happen to me, don't use this for my obituary or something like that. Please don't use this photo. Find a better photo. Oh, there it is. Yeah. There's the wide shot. Okay. That's me sitting in a chair. They said, okay.
It's too wide.
Smile.
Why would they?
It's so wide. I saw that, and I was like, there's no, I can't put that on the stream. So also, I don't know if you noticed the
You're
skin.
Like 1/6 of that picture.
I don't know if you noticed the skin tones or not, but I used the iPhone touch up, and it just brightened up your skin and, a little less pale, a little more color, that sort of thing.
There is AI.
So
that was just the filter. I look at that less AI and more filter. But if you're watching the Annie Frey Show live stream right now, you're looking at the picture they emailed. And we had to wait months. Oh, we got your photos back. I said, oh, nice. I can update my social media, have a nice new fresh one. I said, I don't think I'm going to be using this one. This one for my Facebook.
You said this was a professional photographer. It's not like, the boss's son who put their name, photography after their name on Facebook and then was like, okay, I've got a professional photography company?
That's a good point. I did not vet them. So that could have very well have been someone's kid.
Yeah, you should ask for their credentials when you sat down.
Yeah, it looks like my DMV photo. Someone typed in the live chat. That's great. It does. I would say if that was a DMV photo, then I would have been happy with it. Like, oh, that's a pretty good DMV photo. But for a staff photo, I don't know. One person said it looks like a mugshot. Said, dude, your phone app can do better. No one's liking the photos. And it's not so much, I don't take it personal. I think everyone hated their photos that came through there.
Well, it's a fair. So like I said before, you don't look bad in the photo. It's that you can tell that somebody just. Did you walk into a room and they just had a background set up and you sat down, they just press go? I mean, is that what they were doing?
It was like in the open sales area, so it was like next to a cubicle. They're like, I'll just sit here, take a picture. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll sit down. And it was super fast. I was in and out in like 30 seconds. They're like, all right, thanks. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Ethan says, I do like the smirk, though. It's cute.
Ethan said he thinks that's. Oh, I know we got a couple of minutes here. And if you want to go see the photo, just go to the live video stream right now and see it for yourself. Can I tell you what they did to my son on Cinco de Mayo at school? So they have different lunch groups because you can't fit the entire school in the lunchroom at the same time. So they said, in the spirit of Cinco de Mayo, this is a couple weeks ago, we are going to give you options. You know, they normally give you like an A lunch and a B lunch. You can pick which one you want. But one of it was nachos and cheese. Kind of like, just a nice little thing for the kids to enjoy. So my son was in the last grouping for the lunches for the day, and they got there and they were out of tortilla chips. So he said the options were Lay's potato chips with either cheese or mayo on the side for his group lunch. Have you ever been so poor in your life that you've had Lay's potato chips with cheese on the side as a meal?
Cheese or mayo.
No, or mayo.
Cheese or mayo.
I got caught up on mayo, but even putting cheese on Lay's chips sounds terrible.
It's just chips and cheese, but it's Lay's.
They said it's because they're kids. They think, oh, they're not going to know the difference.
That's probably true.
Children.
They probably don't know the difference.
That's good enough for them kids.
Give them whatever. Did your son know? Did he care?
He ate it. He said it was okay. He's like, it was all right, I guess. I mean,
there's just nothing.
But he told
to
me
that.
about it.
Even just normal chips and cheese isn't much. I mean, the nacho chips and cheese is at least sort of what you'd get. I guess you go to the ballpark and get chips and cheese, but it just doesn't feel like much of a meal.
Yeah, but that's like nachos.
No.
Yeah,
it's
like
nachos,
corn chips and nacho cheese.
I know, but
it's great.
I'm just saying, like in general,
that's a delicacy.
It's not. It's not a lot better to just have Lay's chips with cheese on them.
It sounded so gross. And he was telling me his friends were getting mayo and stuff because they didn't want the soft cheese on it. And I was like, oh, that's just the grossest
Now,
thing
have you ever had mayo on broccoli?
No.
Try it.
That sounds terrible, too.
Next time you steam broccoli or cook broccoli, put mayo on it. I wouldn't say that it's good dipped like raw broccoli.
I've got one for you. But mayo and cayenne pepper on corn is fantastic. I thought it was gross when I first heard
That's
it.
a Mexican-style corn,
Mexican street corn. It is unbelievably good.
Really?
Yeah.
I see the commercials, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of mayo lobbyists out there because they want you to put it in your scrambled eggs now. They want you to put mayo on everything. You notice that?
I have. So what Big Mayo does,
Big Mayo.
I'm sure.
Big Mayo. Big Mayo's out there telling you to slather it on your corn, but you're telling me it's good.
Ender asks, what do you call cheese that doesn't belong to you? The answer is, it is someone else's.
No, nacho. You know the answer to that.
Page. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The White House says both countries agree Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Presidents Trump and Xi discussing the Strait of Hormuz, along with economic cooperation and fentanyl before a banquet that also included U.S. business leaders.
In his toast to Xi Jinping at the state dinner, President Trump referred to him as a friend, saying the two countries had
one of the most consequential relationships in world history.
And inviting the Chinese leader to Washington in September. A Chinese summary of today's meeting had President Xi describing Taiwan as the most important issue in U.S.-China relations. The White House summary didn't mention Taiwan at all.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump calls the talks extremely positive. The CDC just confirming 41 people in the U.S. are now being monitored for hantavirus. However, there are no active cases of it in the U.S. This after 18 people from an infected cruise were sent to two medical facilities in Nebraska and Atlanta. State lawmakers pushing for a vote on gun legislation in Minnesota are set to try a different tactic tonight.
Minnesota House Democrats preparing to host a sit-in if Republican Speaker Lisa Demuth doesn't present a gun ban bill that passed the Democrat-controlled state Senate May 4th. State Rep Samantha Sensor-Mura saying the sit-in
for everyone across Minnesota who has lost someone to gun violence.
The bill in the wake of last summer's deadly mass shooting at a Minneapolis church and school at the hands of a suicidal transgender shooter. Opponents of the bill say it targets commonly owned firearms, turns law-abiding Minnesotans into criminals, and builds a state-run registry of every gun owner. That the bill does nothing to stop criminals who already ignore current laws.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The crash of a small medical plane under investigation in New Mexico where 4 people were killed, and a fire associated with the crash has grown to about 30 acres in dry, windy conditions. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
System checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sorry, I'm laughing at these comments for my photo. No one is a fan of my staff photo. Has there been one that looked at it and said, that's a good staff photo?
Yeah, there's been a ton, but we've deleted them.
If you go to the Annie Frey Show live video feed, you'll see what we're talking about. I have the general feeling no one here in our building actually liked their latest staff photo. But then again, I don't think anyone in the building would pay to have their own photos taken just so they can get one they like. They'll take whatever they can get for free. That's kind of the radio way, isn't it?
Well, I did that once. I went to JCPenney and I had some headshots taken just for no reason. And I told them, look, these are headshots for the sake of me having headshots. I don't want them to look good. I want them to look as bad as possible. I want the worst backgrounds. And they said, why? And I'm like, because I don't know. I just don't. I just want to do that way. So I have a whole bunch of headshots of myself when I was like 32, where I'm looking at the camera
years ago,
grabbing my chin and just kind of looking off into the distance like that. And like, I still have them. I don't know why.
Black turtleneck, gold chain, stonewashed jeans.
Mullet, possibly.
No, I mean, this was like 2008.
Yes, it'd have been a skullet at that point.
Why aren't these photos used? There's some place I can see them?
I'll try to find them.
You got to post those on the line. You've mentioned it now.
Yeah, we have to. Can I tell you something else that happened here in the building? And you can tell me if I just need to grow up. But we had CPR training here just recently. Have you had CPR training recently? I would say in the last couple of years.
No,
they won't let me because I always kiss the dummies.
Well,
it's like, Ryan, we got to sanitize that now.
Something happened here. Well,
I kind of thought this is where it was. That's why I said that. I thought this is probably where this story goes, isn't it?
So the American Heart Association basically came in and did these sessions, 2 different sessions, anyone that wanted to participate. And part of it is workplaces need to have these automatic defibrillator machines. We don't have one in our building. We're getting one. But part of it was, okay, you need to know how to use it. And long story short, it's the instructions are on these things. So you don't actually need training. If you follow the instructions and there's voice prompts on these things that tell you what to do, they don't actually zap you unless the conditions are right. So you're not going to accidentally hurt someone with these things. So we're doing this, and they bring the dummies in, and a lot has changed since I've done CPR training the last time, and this has been decades ago. So now the CPR dummies are male and female with full-grown breasts on the dummies. And they lay these things down, and it's just a bunch of bare-chested women torsos in front of us. And I thought, I grew up at a time when Beavis and Butthead was a thing. My maturity level is like, I'm right on the bubble of like, oh no, this is not gonna, I don't know if I'm mature enough to handle this. And apparently I was the only one that felt that way.
They should put shirts on those ladies.
Well, this is what they tell you. I know. Well, it's the Annie Frey Show, so I think this is appropriate to bring up with the guys. So they said the reason why they have female dummies is because guys are afraid to perform CPR on women because if it's in the workplace or someone else, they don't want to be accused of sexual harassment or doing something inappropriate. So they would let the women die before they would touch their chest. So they said they had to adapt to that in order to make men more comfortable with the open, bare chests of CPR.
I don't know that doing it on a dummy would make me more comfortable with my coworker.
I'll tell you, it was still strange because you're like touching these areas because they're telling you how to do this stuff. And you're like in front of your coworkers and you're like, oh boy, this is just something just feels like this is a trap.
Just confirming all the bad things that you think that they think about you.
Wrecker, did the dummy have nipples?
Yes.
It does?
They had it all.
Really?
It had everything. And when you have the defibrillator stuff, you have to open them up fully and remove the bra and everything.
Really?
You
Was
have
the dummy
to
wearing a bra?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No. My wife said the same thing. She said, if it was a bunch of guys trying to undo the bra strap, then women are dead. There's like, it's over.
Wait a minute. Why do you have to undo the, like, if you're going to give CPR, is the first thing a guy yells is like, take her bra off.
It's not CPR, it's for the AED.
Oh, okay.
It's for placing the patches correctly.
Okay. Yes, you have to place them correctly, and you have to do it on bare skin. You can't just slide it under a bra strap. You have to remove it fully. So they said if this were to happen in your workplace, you have to be prepared to rip open your female coworker's shirt to place these things to save their lives. And you just have to get over it in order to save their life. And they said this is the message they're trying to pump into guys' minds because they're just not comfortable doing this at a workplace.
Is there a definitive time that you know, oh no, my coworker is blank, I have to give them CPR and rip their shirt off and take off their bra? Like, it seems like it's going to have to be a real clear moment for you to go that far to do that.
So the AEDs, their job is to, it's an automatic defibrillator.
External defibrillator,
defibrillator. Fibrillation is whenever your heart stops beating and it starts shaking.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and the reason I know this is because I was talking to my cardiologist and my trainers whenever I was doing cardiac rehab after having my heart attacks. Because I was on the treadmill and they said I had 31 seconds of ventricle tachycardia, which means that my ventricles were beating way too fast. And they said at 31 seconds, it's considered ventricle fibrillation, and they have to start chest compressions because my heart's not beating. And they said that's what when you like come home and the person was mowing the lawn and they died and they just fell out in the yard and they just find them that way. It's usually a ventricle VFib, or is it VTAC? But anyway, when the ventricles, the big chambers don't pump, then blood isn't moving through and you pass out. So, long way to answer your question, Ryan. You would know because the person wouldn't be conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned earlier that these AEDs don't actually have to shock you. No, they don't. They can check and they can detect an irregular heartbeat, and they can use the electrical to what they said was pace you out of it. So instead of actually shocking you and restarting your heart, it's shocking the heart to get back on the correct rhythm to start pumping blood the correct way. So you would know because your coworker would be unconscious.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they said, it happened suddenly. They just dropped down, without warning. They said you check to see if they're breathing. So what you do is you kind of put your ear towards their mouth and you look down their chest to see if you see any breathing movements there. They also said you don't do the breaths in the mouth anymore unless you have more than one person. If you are the only one there, you skip the breaths, you just keep the blood flowing. And they said, call 911, right? You get the emergency people there before you start anything else because that's going to be important. So we did these exercises and, they don't give you certification. It's just kind of so you know what the modern techniques are. And, that was the end of it. And I thought, you know what? This is a wild world we live in today. And I guess in a life-saving way, you, of course, hope that you would jump in action. But I totally understand that you don't want to be the one to rip someone's shirt open when you don't need it. And you're like, wait a minute. I thought I was saving their lives.
Yeah, this person on our chat right here, FR, says, oh, sorry about that, Kathy. I thought you were going into cardiac arrest. That's what I would be afraid of.
Whenever I was driving a school bus, part of the training was how to deal with students that are having seizures. And they said there's two types. There's the grand mal and the petit mal seizures. And they said whenever they're having one of these, like, you want to make sure that the clothing is loosened and so all of this other stuff. And like on the video, this bus driver has to undo the belt of this girl that is having the seizure. And every time we show that video, you can hear all the drivers, but mainly the guys groan going, oh no.
Yeah.
Because there is that concern.
Yeah. And, they make it, the American Heart Association, clear that in cases like this, you're allowed to without there being some legal ramifications. Like they made it sound like in cases of an emergency, this is one of those excuses you'd be able to justify it if you thought you're trying to save their life. So went through the thing and, the ladies made fun of the guys for not wanting to do it. And I also asked the question, I said, why can't you just slide the pads under the bra? Like, why do you have to remove it? And they're like, well, there's wires in the bra and you can't have it arcing because then you won't get the zap. And that's why you have to remove it fully. I'm just hoping none of that ever happens, honestly. You don't have to be put in that situation. But they have these defibrillators in schools. They have them in malls, workplaces. They're all over the place. So next time you walk into a school, you could ask someone, hey, where's your defibrillator? Because if you have sporting events there with kids, I mean, all these places have them now. And some people even say you can buy one for your house if you wanted it. They're about $1,500. Oh, and they also said if you get a hairy guy, a lot of these defibrillators have razors included, so you can shave the guy's chest to put the pad down.
Seems like it would take a long time. No?
Because if you're not getting a good contact, you have to.
Yeah.
Were the male dummies also anatomically correct?
It didn't go past the waist, so you didn't need that. So it was just like a
Ryan's
regular
wondering
guy's
if they
chest.
had belly buttons.
Oh, belly buttons. Okay. Just like, where are you going with this?
It was up
like
to the
crash test
interpretation.
dummies.
I didn't know where it would go. Just asking the question.
I'm just asking questions.
So who knows? Maybe someone here listening, this could save a life. They'll learn a few things or two about knowing how to do modern CPR. But it's changed a lot over the years from what I remember it to be. And you still use staying alive as the way to compress. And you got to do it harder than you think. And these dummies actually had sensors on it. So every time you push down, there's a little light if you're doing it too hard or too soft. So to try to get a feel for it, you have to really push down on people's chests. But staying alive is still the standard song that you use for that. And I don't know. I would say in the next 15 years, no one's going to remember that song. A new generation don't know that song. So they'll have to figure out something else.
We'll have to switch to Heart of Glass. Or Funky
Which
Town.
is, Funky Town. Find something more new. We need someone like Taylor Swift to come up with a CPR song or whatever. That's how the kids will be able to learn it.
No, I like the idea that the American Heart Association is really committed to disco.
All right, we have Ethan talking some sports after the break. Is that right? That'll be fun.
That is correct.
All right, so let's do that on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. I'm matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home, it's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation, so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This segment of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by All Financial.
Hold up.
Check it out. Sports and local.
Magic Merlin Baby Starfish Suit.
You should turn your mic on.
Up.
There you are.
Now I am. I like that one.
I do too.
It's the right level of Wiggins. It's stupid, but it's funny.
It doesn't mean anything. It's not really a slam on you. It's not really related to you at all.
No, in fact, it has nothing to do with anything we're doing in the segment either.
No.
It doesn't. Hi, Ryan Recker.
Hey, how are you? You liked my photo for my staff photo?
No, actually, I didn't. When Brad showed me that earlier, I actually thought it was a joke at first. He says, "Look at what Recker sent me to use as his picture." And I just kind of like shrugged it off because I was like, well, the last time that Recker sent me a picture that he wanted used on as his guest shot, it was a picture of a McRib. So I just kind of assumed that you were doing a similar gist here, just with a goofy picture, but it wasn't goofy.
Yeah, I filled in for... No, I did an interview. Brad Young was doing the show, and they needed a picture for the live stream, and I said, just use a picture of a McRib, and they refused.
Why? Why a McRib, though? Why did you do that?
Why not?
Okay.
I was hoping they would go to me on the live stream and there'd be a picture of a McRib.
Let's go to
I thought
Ryan
that would be
Record.
funny.
Yeah,
It's a
he texted
McRib.
me and he was literally like, "Hey, could you use a picture of a McRib?" And I just said no.
They
That
shot
was
it down. I thought that would have been
Completely
funny.
shut it down. Yep, sure did. Well, it's time to do sports and local now, isn't it? On the Annie Frey Show.
Yep.
Sponsored by All Financial. The St. Louis Cardinals dropped yesterday's contest against the Athletics. It still feels so weird not being able to say a city because they're not the Oakland Athletics. They are called right now the Athletics.
Ethan, I know I asked you this before, but there was some leaked documents of a different name altogether for the team. So not just they would be from Las Vegas, but it would be the Las Vegas something else. Have you heard anything on this?
No.
So it was
I
like
have not.
hiring for that for positions and whatnot.
No, I don't even remember talking about this. I would be shocked if they changed it. The Athletics organization has a long-standing history. They're one of
For
the oldest
sure.
teams in
Which
Major
is why
League
it was so
Baseball.
shocking.
I mean, they're dating back to the Philadelphia when they were the Philadelphia A's back in the 1800s. I mean, they've been around for a very long time. So I would be surprised if they changed it for that reason. I'm pretty sure they're already branding it as the Vegas A's, the Vegas Athletics too. So I don't think that.
I think they
gonna-
should change their name to the Gaming Commission.
And why is that?
Because I think it'd be confusing to constantly refer to them as the Las Vegas Gaming Commission.
Yeah, do you think that like some people would probably be a little bit concerned getting phone calls when not sure if it's their season tickets or if they're in trouble?
But I'd be here in St. Louis, Missouri, laughing my butt off. And that's really the point.
That's the point. Is
Yeah.
for people in St. Louis to be laughing their butts off.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah,
That's what you do, Ryan Wiggins. You little rascal. You.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was in that movie.
Yes, he was. Brad, thank you.
Way to go,
Okay.
Ethan.
All right. Sounds good. Significant changes could be coming to Metrolink security in the city of St. Louis as the city sheriff's department may take over security from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. The potential change will be considered at a bi-state safety and security committee meeting upcoming. The discussion comes in the midst of an officer shortage with the SLMPD. In a memo, Kevin Scott, the security chief, the bi-state's security chief, said current officer shortages have left city police unable to maintain the staffing levels required for proactive protocols. Here's what I do know, is that in my lifetime that I can recall, I don't remember anyone ever being comfortable about riding the Metrolink. And a change needs to happen in order for it to be a piece of transportation that people can feel comfortable using. So if
We used to ride it once in a while. This would have
Really?
been not in your lifetime, though. This would have been right before your lifetime.
Yeah.
I would have been in my early 20s, and we would take it to sporting events sometimes.
Would you ride it all the way from like Fairview Heights or wherever, or would you do what my parents used to do, which is we would drive all the way down to the Casino Queen Park in the Casino Queen parking
We would
lot
do that.
and just
where
go
does it
across.
cross
Yeah.
the river at?
The Eads Bridge. It goes under, so it's
okay.
underneath, and then it goes underground once you get into.
You
the
know
city.
what? I've ridden it once. I rode it when the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series in 2011. We rode it on the way to the parade. It was that crazy busy in the city that we rode it probably from some, I don't know, I guess it may have been Fairview Heights. And we were in the ballpark that day, but that's the only time that I have ridden it. And honestly, probably one of the only times that it's been considered safe to ride it because there was so many people that were riding on it that nothing would possibly happen. Any other thoughts?
The things you see on there, the security hasn't improved, right? I mean, there's been it's probably getting worse than it is better, because I remember hearing all kinds of stories. It was basically an open drug market, or what you'd expect, Craigslist on wheels, and you would not find any McRibs there, but you would find a bunch of people being annoying and, hurting other people. I saw stories about how they used to beat people up or spill water on them to harass people. People would come in from out of town thinking, oh, this is great. I'm going to fly in to Lambert and I'll just take it downtown. This is great public transportation, only to be harassed or mugged. So they got to do something. You can't just be able to say it's safe during sporting events and that's it. That's not the way to go.
Yeah.
I will say this. There was a period of time in about 2010 that I thought it would be a hilarious idea to write all these different companies and entities with just a ridiculous request and see what they did. And one of them that I wrote was the Metrolink, and I have not thought about this in 15 years until you just said this. But I wrote the Metrolink and told them, listen, I got a problem. I lost my workout videotape on the Metrolink, and it had a ridiculous name to it. It was somebody's like workout regimen, and I lost that tape, and I have not seen another one of those since 1986, and I've got to get that tape back. Can you check? And they did, and they got back to me. They're like, we cannot find that tape. And I was like, listen, whatever the name was, it was like Sam Kinnison's famous workout or something. It's a ridiculous name I made up. And so they wrote back, and I'm like, listen, thank you for checking, but I got a bigger problem now. I lost Sam Kinnison's second workout tape that he did in 1989 now, and I need you to check for that one. And I can't remember if they responded the second time or not. But it was something.
And you did this just to screw with local businesses?
Yeah. I wrote the Cardinals and asked them if I could sing the national anthem. And I gave them a list of songs that I've sung before, and the songs made no sense. Like why would that be a resume? And then I admitted at the bottom of them that I had never sang publicly, but that these are songs that I sing privately, and I think that I should try the national anthem.
And I'm assuming you never got a response.
No, they
back.
responded. Yeah, it was just a form letter saying no, but they did respond. It was great. I did
the
this.
sad part is
I did
they
this
probably,
for like a year and a half.
Before you had kids, this was your form of entertainment. The sad part is that they probably get people that email like that all the time, but are serious.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do because they had a ready response.
That is unbelievable.
But the best part was when you respond and go, "Thank you so much," and then like ask for something else. Can I get a signed picture of Ozzy?
Well, since that didn't work.
Is there an opportunity to do that on behalf of Ethan and try to apply him to do things like sing the national anthem, and just if he does get approved, then he'll have to do it?
I don't know
Like
why
under
we're
the
not
duty
doing
of the
that.
Cardinals.
Why have we not done this?
my
yet?
gosh.
The problem is that they all know me there.
That's
they
even
would
better.
That makes it better.
Say, did you
have an
actually
in now.
send this in?
It's like, did you know Ethan can sing, and then you could send him a recording of Josh Groban singing the national anthem?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is.
That's going to happen.
Okay. Well,
Anyway,
that's
back to you in sports and local.
Yeah, let's keep that going. Oh, God. This is an interesting one. Researchers at St. Louis University have released findings on a birth decline in the St. Louis region. According to Demography for Democracy, Spring 2026's newsletter, St. Louis saw a 8.57% decline in births from 2021 to 2025. The region ties for first with, get this, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk for metropolitan areas with the largest percentage decline in births.
Hey, take that, Virginia Beach.
I know what's going on in St. Louis. I want to know what's going on in Chesapeake.
Can you tell us what's going on in St. Louis?
Yes, crime.
That's why people aren't doing it?
That's why there's not enough people to do it. People are still doing it. There's just not as many people doing it here.
So there's so many dead that they're not.
No,
This
they're
isn't
moving
terrible.
out, and they're doing it in the county, Ryan.
Well, no, I mean, they could do it in the city and then find out they're pregnant, then move to the county, right? It doesn't have to be.
They're not happy enough in the city. They're not happy enough. They're too worried about their safety, so they don't feel that they can truly be free.
We got pregnant on Washington. How about, honey, let's go down to Kimswick.
The newsletter.
That's your logic.
The newsletter states that the St. Louis region is ranked 23rd, in population size, but will fall to 24th. It also states that the region is competing with metropolitan areas such as Indianapolis, Nashville, and Kansas City that are all doing it more in their cities. That's not what it says. I just improvised.
Just adding that.
That it says producing more children. It's the
We
same.
know how that happens.
We all know how it happens.
It's all one and the same. Ness Sandoval was quoted saying, as of 2024, approximately 31,000 fewer children under the age of 15 are already accounted for in the demographic ledger compared to 2020. Without sustained in-migration for young adults and families open to having children, the region could see a total decline of, get this, 123 to 158,000 children by 2025, assuming things. It says 2025. I'm assuming that's a misprint.
Are you saying this on behalf of the entire region or St. Louis City? This like the actual city.
This says the St. Louis region.
That's the problem.
I'm assuming this is county, and I don't know. Would that include?
I guess it depends.
Would that include the Metro East? Would that include St. Charles?
Well, that's why I
don't
was
know.
asking it, yeah.
I don't know. It just says St. Louis region. The data release this past July, this upcoming July, is going to apparently provide an important benchmark for children under the age of 15, but the direction is not in question. So certainly some concerns continued with St. Louis, the St. Louis region and its population, and some things need to change.
The mayor needs to put loudspeakers up around town playing Barry White.
Does he play the saxophone?
No.
Oh, I was going to say play the saxophone. Just the saxophone. That'll do the job.
Kenny G?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Kenny
we
G.
should have Kenny G playing on loudspeakers throughout the city to increase the
That'll make
rate.
people want to come here.
Yep.
You've just solved all of St. Louis's problems.
Well, it's
You know,
what
they
I do.
can't
That's
get
what
the,
this segment is for. Thank you, All Financial, for making it happen.
I was going to say, you can't get the speakers to work for tornadoes, but you'll play some Kenny G through them.
Well, they work now. That's why we can talk about this.
The new
Only
tornado
between
siren.
9 and midnight. You know what I'm saying?
9 p.m. at midnight, not 9 a.m.
Not it's not 9 a.m.
That'd be a long
Midnight.
time. That'd be a long
That's
time.
all day. Ethan.
Yeah, I know.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
I'm Emma Greed, host of Aspire with Emma Greed, a podcast where I sit down with people who don't just dream big, they build big. From culture-shaping voices like Mel Robbins to leaders redefining success like Tracy Ellis Ross to game-changing entrepreneurs like Mark Cuban. Aspire is about mindset, ambition, and doing the work that actually moves the needle. If you're ready to raise your standards and take charge about the life and career you're building, Aspire is where you start. Follow and listen to Aspire with me, Emma Greed, an Audacy podcast available wherever you get your podcasts.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Our poll today, the YouTube live chat poll, is: do you consider yourself more generous or less generous than the average American. You can choose more or less on the poll because Brad fixed it from the way it started. And Dirk says this on our stream. He says, I chose less. I have a lot of room for improvement. That's very honest. Thank you, Dirk. Let us know what you think about this poll. It's based on J.D. Vance's comments about Americans being generous. It's the YouTube live chat poll. It is 2:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. From Wood River to Weldon Springs, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in. Got a little under a half hour here, and it's always a pleasure when I get the invite to do the show. The Annie Frey Show is so fun, so thank you guys. I like that I get to join you here. You say there's some economic polling or something, Ryan Wiggins, you're looking at?
This is actually an economic exercise that I stumbled across. It's called the Ultimatum Game. And it was created in 1961, and it's actually a study that tries to figure out the psychology of economics and why people would either be generous or not generous and human nature regarding money. And the way it plays out, I'll explain it, and I'll ask you what would you do in this situation, because this is actually what they do in the experiment. So they have $1,000. The person starts with $1,000, or the person that's running the experiment.
Okay.
And then he has two people in a room. And he says to the one person, person A will say, you're going to get $1,000. You have to choose how much of this $1,000 to give to person B, who's also in the room listening to this, okay? So you know that person A is getting $1,000. Person B is only going to get whatever person A chooses to give them. But here's the catch. If person B says no, then neither one of them get anything. Okay? So if you're person A, you get $1,000, you have to decide how much of that are you going to offer to person B. And there's no negotiation. You can't be like, well, I'll give you this and that. No, you make an offer, and the person B has to either say, yes, I will accept your offer, or no, I will not accept your offer. And if he says no, neither one of you gets a dime. The question is, if you're person A, and this is the way the experiment is run, if you're person A, how much do you offer person B?
So just so I understand the rules, I don't want to
go ahead.
Pull an Ethan here.
Okay.
So I am person A. I am given $1,000.
You're given $1,000.
I have to offer person B an amount of that $1,000.
Yep.
That they have to accept for us to receive any of that $1,000.
Correct.
Now, if they say no, nobody gets anything. If they say yes, we each get whatever the offer was.
Correct.
And there's no negotiations or anything. I don't know person B at all.
You do not know them?
But they're in the room.
Yes. And so they're aware of the situation. It's not like they're coming in blind.
Yep.
They know that you just got given $1,000 and you're going to give a portion of it to them. Now, I'll say this before you decide what to give. The people running the experiment say the most rational thing that you could do in this would be to offer person B $1. Because person B, if person B were 100% rational, would say, if I say no, I get nothing. If I say yes, I get $1.
Yeah, but we're assuming that person B is a rational person, and
that's correct.
That would be a slap
and
in their
human
face.
nature is not rational, because if you're person B, no matter what you're offered, why would you say no? You just got more than you had.
Well, or even if they offered you $0, all you're doing by saying no is depriving that other person of $1,000.
Well, you wouldn't offer $0, because then person B has literally no motivation to say yes.
But they have no motivation to say no other than spite.
But offer them $1 and they're actually walking away ahead regardless.
Right.
So that's the way the experiment is run, but then they actually do this in real experiments. So my question for you, Ryan and Brad, is how much would you offer? And your goal, of course, is to guarantee that you're walking away with as much as you can.
So you want to try to walk away with the most
right.
that you think they'll take without screwing you over.
You want to walk away with the most money that you can out of this deal while making sure that they say yes.
I think the largest, like myself would be like, okay, let's just split it 50-50. That would be the strategy if I wanted to play it safe. I think if I were to do 60-40, 600 me, 400 them, that's probably the most I would be able to leverage it without them protesting. So I'm going to say I would do safe 50-50, but I think you could probably do 600 without them.
So you're keeping 600, you're offering them 400, hoping they say
that's
yes.
probably the most, I think.
I think the more interesting question to ask is what is the least amount that you would take if offered?
Well, we could ask that too, but how would you answer the first question?
I'm with Wrecker on this. Is if I'm offered the $1,000, I'm coming out ahead. If I take home 500 of that, that's a big win. That guarantees it. That person and I we didn't earn this money. We just said yes. That's a good deal. I'm cool with that. So I would offer them half and half.
That's what the chat is mostly saying too. Is they're saying probably 50-50 is, and that probably is the safest way to make sure you walk away with something. You don't know the other person at all and what their motivation would be.
Well, not even safest way, but I also think that's like a legit fair way of doing it.
Okay, so other question is, if you're person B, what is the least amount that you would say yes to?
I think I'd say yes to the $1.
Would you?
Yeah, because again, same thing.
You just heard him explain, here, I'm going to give you $1,000, give whatever you want to person B.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, I'll take $1.
Yeah, I'd take $1 because that dude owes me nothing. Well, who am I to deny him $999?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'd deny him in a heartbeat. I'd be like, okay, no, we're getting nothing. If we doing nothing, we getting nothing.
I ain't losing out on much.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me one bit to say, okay, you lose out on $999. It wouldn't make me lose a minute of sleep at night. So I would say the least I would take would probably be 50-50, honestly. If they came out and they said, I'll give you $100, I'd be like, oh, I think I'm going to pass. We're going to both pass. I would make them really work for it to try to earn them getting me to say yes.
You aren't going to get $100 out of me. You're not going to cost me $100 just to hurt the other guy. So if he offered me $100, I'd be like, sure, I'll take the $100.
See how this experiment gets tricky though? It gets very tricky because Ryan Wrecker is doing what the majority of people in this experiment do.
Yeah.
In the actual experiment.
Well, I don't want to offend you here, Ryan, but I might. It's an assumption of deserving, that I deserve more than this because this is what it is. And I also don't carry that angry, I'm going to burn you down because you didn't give me more. If you're offering me $100, I came into that with $0. I'm not going to give up on $100 just because I want you to miss out on $900.
Oh, I would.
I don't have that bone in my body.
I'll answer this question for myself. When I first read it, I said I would probably do what you guys said first time. I would probably offer 50-50 just to make sure that I'm walking away with 50 or with 500. I would probably take anything up above $50
because
I'm walking away with $50. Yeah. If it's less than that, then I'm like, man, you're putting yourself on the line here.
You're
buddy.
Essentially saying, how much am I willing to pay to screw that other guy out of his money?
That's exactly what you're paying. And I'll tell you now, since we're at the end of the time here, I'll tell you how this experiment actually plays out. Really, when they do it. Yeah, because there's a proportion of people that fall within the majority, and they said that the majority of people. And here's the weird thing. Person A in the experiment varies every time. And so there's not really a range that people always fall within. You're never going to get more than 50-50. But there's not a bell curve that, most people arrive here. It's pretty weird. It's like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But as far as person B goes, when they do the experiment, person B will deny it the majority of time up until about 30%.
See, 30% is a number that popped into my head about that.
They said once it hits about 30%, where that person's walking away with $300 or 30% of whatever amount of money they do, then they start to accept it at a much higher rate. But below that, they're actually willing to lose that much money just to say, screw you to the other guy who's in the room with
That's
them.
exactly what I would look at them and ask them. I was like, all right, I'm going to offer you money. How much are you willing to pay for me not to get the amount of money that I would get?
But there is no negotiation, Brad.
Yeah.
That's part of the
Can't bring
experience.
it up ahead of time.
That's not a negotiation. That would just be my offer.
That's okay.
So,
Your offer.
how much-
You pick the number and we'll.
I'm gonna say this. How much are you willing to pay for me not to get the $700 that I'm offering you?
So there you go. That's called the ultimatum game if you ever want to try it with anybody.
What if you flipped it? Oh, do we got time? Got a minute?
Yeah, we got a minute.
What if you flipped it and said, okay, B, I'll take whatever you, like basically what Brad was saying. I'll let you pick the number and I'll accept whatever you pick. You think they would screw you over doing 999 to 1? You get the
heck
one
yeah,
as
they
player
would.
A?
Yes,
Think they would.
They
I
absolutely
mean,
would.
it's human nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game, and that's an interesting one. Thanks, Ryan Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Annie Frey Show, 97.1 FM Talk. And welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm Ryan Recker. So I have a couple of celebrity stories as we get close to the end of the show. I'm going to read for you what the celebrity did, and I want you to guess the celebrity. Does that sound
This
safe?
sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This celebrity was seen by witnesses inside of a restaurant, raising their voice, screaming, and even barking at times. Some people saw this celebrity holding a knife at one point. It sparked the fear that they may accidentally stab someone. And while people were witnessing this, They said when this celebrity left, the table looked like a toddler had been there. Do you want to guess the 44-year-old celebrity?
Spuds McKenzie.
The dog from the Budweiser commercials?
That's my guess.
I think this was a lady. I think it was Britney Spears.
Oh, you got it. You nailed it. Britney Spears it is. Good job, Brad.
44 years old kind of sealed the deal for me.
Of the crazy 44-year-olds, that kind of meets the profile to a T. TMZ reported this as people saw her at a restaurant holding a knife. They really thought she was going to accidentally start stabbing. Because if you've seen any of her Instagram videos, it's her dancing with things like knives, and she's like really looking crazy. So she's kind of got this Free Britney mentality, and I think in retrospect, people like me were right to say her dad was actually trying to help her.
Yeah.
Because she was not in a mental spot.
Free Britney was a mistake.
Free Britney was a mistake for her own benefit. She is nuts. So TMZ posted all this stuff, and Britney Spears' rep said, this is completely blown out of proportion. She was having a quiet dinner with her assistant and bodyguard. She was simply telling the story about how her dog was barking at the neighbors.
Well, whenever you tell people about what your dog was doing, you have to do it.
You have to
show
make the
people
noise.
What a dog does.
Yeah, so my dog was barking at neighbors like this.
Yeah. Because if you don't make the noise, people will be like, what's barking?
Yeah, what is that? I can't imagine a dog barking at neighbors. What was that experience like?
Right.
So this knife-wielding LA restaurant bizarre scene, post-rehab, by the way. She's out of the, remember she got caught drunk driving or whatever it was. So post-rehab, this is how she's acting. One other celebrity story here, and you may have seen this story. And the story has to do with a filmmaker that was very well known, Adam McKay. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
No.
So he did comedy classics such as Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and Step Brothers.
He's done a ton of stuff.
Yep. So he came out in an interview, and they kind of looked at his history, and he said, back when Donald Trump was elected, he said, I'm this Democrat party. These guys are terrible. They would allow Donald Trump to become president. He was a Democrat, and he said, I'm leaving the party. I'm going to join the Green Party or Working Families Party. So he did a podcast recently where he was talking about liberals, and he said, we are being hit with high-grade marketing. No group is worse than white liberals. I mean, they are the worst. He said, I've tried to talk to them about climate. They are so smug and captured. It boils down to privilege. I mean, when you talk to white, moneyed liberals, they're getting a lot from this broken system. So he went off on them and blamed the Democratic Party for why Trump won in 2024, saying he was more progressive than that, so it's the liberals' fault that he won. And he went on to say a bunch of other stuff, too. So you think Adam McKay has a point here?
Yes.
White liberals are the problem?
Wow, that's really interesting that he's saying that, because he is definitely a comedy guy. He's a fantastic director. That's why he's got so many of these movies that you love, because he's such a good director. And we actually had David Koechner on the show, on the Annie Frey Show, not too long ago.
I saw the pictures. I was so jealous.
Yeah, and so he would have been a good buddy of Adam McKay. I think they may have even come up through some of the Second City stuff together, because Adam McKay was a Second City guy.
Okay.
And so Adam McKay is still a great director. It's not like, oh, he has this resume in the past. Have you seen The Menu recently?
That was him?
With Anya Taylor-Joy. That was him.
Wow.
And he's starting to branch into stuff that's like comedy, but not strictly comedy. And so he's doing a lot more interesting stuff. I think he actually did that with Will Ferrell. But he is a highly relevant voice in entertainment, because if you know a major director, like all the stars that we know and love, they all cater to directors. They want the director to know them, because then they get cast more. So he is extremely influential in Hollywood. For him to be saying this stuff matters.
Yeah. Well, those are a couple of Hollywood stories there. I know we only have a couple more minutes. How'd the poll turn out?
All right. Well, so looking at, first of all, let's answer for ourselves. Ryan Wiggins, how would you vote in this poll?
Well, I would hope that I am more generous than the average American. I don't know what the average American gives, but I try to make sure that I am generous with my money.
Do you think that it's because the average American is not that generous, or do you think it's you're just that much more generous?
We give a lot to church and
You give
stuff,
a lot.
so I just figure that knowing the number of people that go to church isn't above 50%, I would consider myself in the higher bracket.
What about you, Wrecker?
You know, I do give to church and I do give money that way and help, but I'm going to put myself below average because one thing happened to me. I went to a grocery store, homeless guy out front asking for money. I said, no. The guy behind me said, what do you want me to get you while I'm in there? And I was like, okay, my reaction was no. His reaction was, let me get you some food. So I think I'm probably below average in that standpoint. Maybe not by financial dollar sense, how much dollars are donated a year, but by that type of charitable giving mindset, I think I'm below average.
Next time we're together and we have more time, remind me to tell you about the time that a homeless guy bought me food. And that's a real story, and it happened within the last 2 years.
Oh, my gosh. So I voted that I am less. But I am starting to lose faith in the generosity of Americans. There's some trouble there. But when I looked at the results of the poll, 71% of our audience says that they are more generous than the average American. So that's an interesting concept there because we didn't get to ask them. Do you think that's because the average American isn't very generous or that you are above and beyond in your generosity? So that is the result of the poll. 71%.
Maybe the bar is set low. Maybe. I don't know. Well, it was a lot of fun being with you here today on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Ryan Recker. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook. I hope we get to do this again soon sometime, boys. It was fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Had fun, Ryan.
Have a great day.